What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, you know I'm living my best life as always, man. Out here on a beautiful Wednesday morning, slightly early. I might have had a long night, but I feel good this morning, man. How you feeling over there, man? You changed up the look, you know what I mean? Like you changed up the scenery. Last time you looked like you were legit on the beach, palm trees in the background. You had your little flannel, not the flannel, you had the Hawaiian shirt on. You look great and amazing. Now you went back to hacker Deke. Talk to me. What's going on here, man? Are you hacking somebody's credit right now, man? What's going on?
No, I'm just trying to enjoy this time in Florida.
Okay.
Reasoning for the switch up, this is in the house's garage, the Airbnb's garage that we're at, is that it is morning. And with everyone getting up and stuff, they like chilling on that back patio, grabbing some breakfast, grab some coffee. I didn't want to be that guy. Everyone just stay inside. It's only going to be me on the back patio recording. So I got the most secluded spot in the whole place, and that is the garage.
But I thought you told me Big Deke energy takes over everything. You said when it's time to record Big Deke energy, there is no alternatives. So you supposed to get first dibs. You're supposed to go out there and tell them, like, look, man, y'all know who I am. We recording out here. Y'all better eat on your own time at your own location. But this is where we at today. That's what I thought you was going to put it down like that, man.
I think Big Deke energy, there's some respect to it as well.
Oh,
there's a secret side of it.
Respectful Deke energy? No way.
There's a secret. I think it goes along with Big Deke energy too. I think it's sometimes you gotta lay down your own self-interest. Have some integrity,
man.
Right?
Come on, man. We don't have integrity over here. We straight up dictator over here. We let them know this is our way or the highway. You think I asked my wife this morning, hey, babe, is it okay if we record in the AM instead of the afternoon? No. I walked in, I said, look, girl. I ain't even say, I said, look, girl, this side's going down today. Straight like that. Come on, man.
Have more fun in the afternoon. That's all right.
I'm about to
go
say,
out to dinner or something. That opened it up for you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I said, babe, you ever had a little afternoon delight? Okay, now. So, yeah. You know what I mean? Shout out to Deke. But, dude.
Yeah, that's why we're recording early. I'm just going to put it out there. I apologize to everyone.
It's all good. Deke was like, he wanted to let me and wifey have some afternoon delight. So, he made a sacrifice for the afternoon, put us in the morning time. So, we appreciate you for that, Deke. We definitely do, man.
Best I can do.
But, man. Before we even get started, bro, I had a couple of things, man, that I was not really feeling when I woke up this morning. Well, mainly one thing. So I go to sleep last night. I'm not thinking about sports, basketball, me and wife just enjoying TV. And I wake up to an alert from USA Today that reads, LeBron James and the Lakers officially eliminated from the play-in, from the playoffs. I was like, ooh, I don't think I've ever seen this before. It felt kind of weird to me, man. It set my morning off in a weird trajectory, man. What is happening? Is this real? Is this a real thing that my dog LeBron, he ain't going to be a postseason today? What's happening, man?
You tell me. You've been more up on the NBA than I have been. I just know the Lakers have been terrible. They've been a mess. Yeah. Injuries left and right. Dysfunction. Russell Westbrook drama of how much playing time should he be getting. He's actually hurting the team. We're talking about firing Frank Vogel. Yeah, and then it just led up to this point of where they're finally eliminated.
Man, it just hurt my heart. And then I think the other day I saw Anthony Davis. He was talking. He was like, yeah, man, if we were all healthy, it would have been different. I'm like, well, you are the biggest person that hasn't been healthy. I just felt real like aggressive towards him for some reason. I don't know why. I was not feeling it, though. And here I was.
He's always hurt. That's probably why. It'd be different if this was just a one-time thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, how are you going to be talking about people being injured when you're the one always they're going to hurt? AD, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. And like I said, it was funny because just the other day, me and you were talking about Ben Simmons not playing in the rest of the regular season, and Steve Nash said that he won't be playing in the play-in. So I'm over here like, yeah, Ben Simmons, you know what I'm saying? But hey, the Lakers, we straight. AD going to come back eventually. He's going to be healthy eventually. And I'm like, no, he's not. What are we doing here, man? I just can't believe this, man. It really made me feel a little bit sad in a sense.
Or at least you thought with LeBron, he's just gonna will his way in, but he's been injured?
Yeah, well, he just got
games,
hurt.
right?
Yeah, he got hurt again last week. Yep, ended up rolling his ankle again, man. So that was the thing with him. But at the time, I mean, he was leading the league in scoring.
He's playing really good.
Yeah, he was leading the league in scoring, man. He was definitely going off all the 50-point stretches he had. I mean, he looked good up until he got hurt again. So that was the frustrating part with him. But in a sense, though, I wonder, is this better for him that he's not going to the playoffs? Because we know in the past what people critique him on is going to the championship and losing. You know, that's been their thing. So is this a better way? Is it better to not go to the postseason so now you can't hold that against his overall postseason record? I mean, as crazy as that logic sounds, I'm just wondering because that's always been the knock on him.
No, I disagree from that standpoint. I think it's always better to get into the dance because I do think some teams would be scared of playing the Lakers in round one if Anthony Davis is back and you have LeBron James there and Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
But it could be a good thing whenever we look back in a year or so if he's able to take all this time off, get his body right, because he's going to be back on the Lakers next year, right?
Yeah, well, everything.
There's no way, but he has 1 year left on the contract. He's probably not going to request a trade. So that's the only way I see it being a benefit is more like, all right, he just gets his body healthy for next year.
Well, I'm hoping
because I disagree with those sentiments of like him just because he made the finals and lost, like that's a knock on his.
Because I mean, you think about it, they
career.
bring that up all the time with him.
I don't
look at his finals record. Look at his Jordan never lost that much in the finals. Like, well, Jordan lost a lot in the first round. You know, LeBron don't got a long track record of losing in the first round. He don't do that. He might have one, and that was last year. So it was always just like I said, it just always made me feel a little confused in terms of is this better for him or not? You know.
No, I don't think it's good. Just make the playoffs. You never know. It could have been a miraculous little run. Even if they don't make the final, we could have seen some really cool moments from him. Now, I'm going to still lean Jordan over LeBron, but Jordan didn't have, the second best player, the third best player in the league join the best team in the league after they beat them.
Oh, yeah. The
Kevin Durant joining the Warriors.
That was nuts, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like Jordan didn't have that. That's probably another 2 championships for LeBron. At least one, maybe.
No, he
that Cavs team versus the Warriors without KD would have split. But
or even that first one where they lost with when Kyrie and Love got hurt. Like that was another one where they probably win that if he has his guys with him, man. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating, definitely a unique time. But then when I think of the East, I mean, you think about Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they're having to go to the play-in is looking like right now. Like, that's kind of scary too. I'm like, sheesh. Oh, man.
Yeah, especially without Ben Simmons playing. Yeah. Now, do you think, because you're more the Lakers fan, of what could have been?
I do, but I don't, if that makes sense. I do think what could have been because I thought that if that group was healthy, when you're talking about Melo, you talk about Kendrick Nunn, you're talking about, Russ at times. Russ has played really good at times. But at the same time, he's also had to learn a little bit of what it's like playing with LeBron and the pressure associated with that. And you can see it getting to him and the way that he's been handling his press conferences and stuff like that. But at the same time, since Bron already has a ring out in LA, I don't feel that stress of, oh man, what could have been because he already has one. And that's the biggest difference. It's like if he never won one out there in LA, then I would constantly be thinking, man, what could have been? Oh, what should have been? But since he already has one, it's like at the end of the day, what you going to say about this man? He went out to LA and won one. They said he couldn't win it in the West. He did that. He won multiples in the East. He did one in Cleveland. So it's like, man, hey, he stamped across the board doing some crazy stuff. MVPs of all of his finals as well. So I'm like, man, Bron is still good. So I don't really get caught up in the what if, with this year. It's just frustrating when I think of my man AD, or as Sir Charles Barkley likes to call him, street clothes. Because there you going, man. Street clothes, man. You hurt me this year, bro. He hurt me. He's supposed to be the one taking over. He was supposed to become the alpha of that team, and Bron could age like a fine wine. But instead, Bron had to kick in an overdrive again. Like, I don't want Bron lead the league in scoring at this age. He don't need to. But when your
save
squad,
it for the playoffs.
You know what I mean? But when your squad isn't doing what they're supposed to do, that was the whole reason that he got AD and requested AD. Because AD was supposed to be that person for him. But it just turned out that, it wasn't. So.
You're the GM. What moves you making?
Man, I think I might
have
to go.
Are you trading AD, trading Westbrook? I don't know how you're trading Westbrook.
I don't really want to trade Westbrook. I think that, down the stretch, he started to get acclimated to playing with LeBron, and it started to work a little bit better. I think the two things you need, though, you need more consistent shooting to space the floor out for Russ. But at the same time, as much as I don't want to move AD because he's still a top 15 player when healthy, the problem is he's never healthy. So I'm kind of cool with moving him because I do think he has the most, that you'll be able to get back in terms of assets, whether you're talking picks or players. And like I said, he's just never available to me. So even though he's a great talent, if the guy's never out there, it doesn't matter. And we've seen that essentially these past 2 seasons with LA. It's like, man, when he's out there, great. But it's still been times where he's disappearing on the court. But he misses such long stretches that it just kills your roster. It kills what you're trying to do on a night-to-night basis. So that's why for me, man, I just ain't feeling it. What would you do, though? You try to...
Well, so what you're saying is you would try to.
I would,
but if the value's not there, you just keep them.
Yeah, but
I think probably heading into this season,
will be there, though.
You think it will be? So all right, you're going to move him like before the season. You probably could have traded him for Towns. Probably not now, though, right?
No, not right now. No, because Towns started balling out down the stretch, man. He's been looking good, and even talking that spicy talk too. I like anybody that talk crazy to him on the court.
So even if you're getting 80 cents on the dollar for him, maybe just a couple of solid players, you're just having faith in LeBron being able to figure it out.
Right. Now,
I think you can't run it back. My first trade would be Westbrook for sure. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
I'm about to say, how you doing that? How you going to move Westbrook? What?
I think he only has 1 year left on the deal. So some people might be viewing that, we just get an expiring contract. Where you're probably going to have to be trading them to a shitty team.
Yeah.
And I don't know what players you're going to be getting back, how many guys you're going to have to get back to match that contract. So it's going to be weird. The only one that looked like it was a possibility, and that was throughout this whole season, was John Wall.
Yeah.
And LeBron apparently was pushing for that. It's just the Lakers would have had to give up a pick.
Right.
I don't know how much better John Wall would have made the Lakers, but I think Westbrook's the first trade I'm trying to make.
Okay.
And then you can start talking about Davis.
Fair enough, man. Now, when you see these people call it a Mickey Mouse ring that my man Brian won in LA, how do you feel about that?
No way. It's a legitimate championship.
I'm like, did we not all have the same chance? Did not every NBA team have the exact same situation, no home court advantage, but because Brian won it, now it's Mickey Mouse? That's all I'm asking, man.
It's not a Mickey Mouse ring. They were the best team that season in that bubble. Now, I can't remember what they were doing in the regular season, but they were at least a top 3 team in that regular season heading into that bubble. And they played the best in the bubble. So they win. No. You're right. Everyone had the same opportunity. And it was just cool that the NBA was able to pull that off. Just think where we were 2 years ago with, how long before sports come back. And those games were awesome.
No, they were,
not even just
dope.
like any of the Lakers games. They were all awesome. Think of the Luka versus Clippers series, and then you had
the Dame Lillard. Think about what Dame was doing. Yeah. Then
you had Nuggets, Jazz, Donovan Mitchell versus Jamal Murray going off. It was crazy. You're right. Damian Lillard had some games too, and there was some fun stuff in the East with the Heat going on a little run too. I thought the NBA bubble was great. I don't think it diminishes his ring at all. No way.
Not at all. So stop hating on him. About to say, where you at? No, I saw you in the chat. Stop hating on him, man. Mickey,
Oh, yeah. Did that trigger
because he kept putting Mickey Mouse ring. I'm like, let's talk about this Mickey Mouse ring then, man. If it's a Mickey Mouse for him, does that mean it's a Mickey Mouse L for everybody else that was down there? Is that what you're telling me? I'm just asking for a friend. That's all. But anywho, I definitely like that, man. Everybody want to hate on Brian, man. Don't hate on that, man. Just appreciate the greatness. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it sucks the Lakers aren't in.
Yeah.
I think even LeBron's biggest detractors are the Lakers' biggest haters. Yeah, I mean, it's just not as fun without him in the playoffs. At least if they would have made the 8 seed, we could have seen him get bounced in the first round or something. But it kind of sucks. It just, you lose one storyline in there.
That's it, man. That's definitely, it sucks. But either way, shout out to my man Brian. All right. So, think now we will start this thing off the way we like to start it off. With the people tuning in from where they are tuning in from. Let us know in the chat, and we will get you those big boy shout-outs as we proceed through today's show, baby. Yes, indeed.
All right, I'll start us off.
Yeah.
Mike Matizic, Good morning, Deke and Moats from the 732, Hazlet, New Jersey.
What it do? What it do?
And then we got Brandon Clark, 540, Roanoke, Virginia.
Let's
Kids
go.
in school, wife at work, my day off.
Ooh.
Best podcast in the nation. Then video games. Sounds like a good day.
Let's get it.
Let us know what you playing.
No, seriously,
you more
man.
Moats guy? You a Call of Duty guy? Or you a sports guy like me?
Hey, but I will say this, man. I've been, I love duty, but recently I haven't been on duty because my children have been joining me in the gaming festivity. So we've been on WWE 2K22. That's what we've been on, like, heavy. Yeah, even before I had left, we were playing like the old school WWE wrestling game. But now that's literally like all we're on, WWE 2K22. It's been nuts. So yeah, I might be a little rusty on my duty because I need to get back in it. I need to get back on my grind. But yeah, man, just want to throw that out there, man.
I heard that's a really good game.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's hard, bro. Like,
is it?
It's so realistic. The cage, the way you can interact with like everything up there, bro. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. Definitely feeling that, man.
That's awesome. Moneybags, South Carolina, home of the national champions.
Let's get it. Go Gamecocks. Absolutely, man. Yeah, Don Staley and the women down there, man, took care of business against my man Gino Oriema. So yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, man, I got to shout this one out real quick.
Ahead.
Robert Bennett, the 757, Hampton University. Dude, that is at the crib. In fact, when I came out of high school, we had our high school like state all-star game, and it was at Hampton University, man. Beautiful campus. Didn't like the rules that they had there, but it was a beautiful campus, man. So shout out to the crib right there, Robert Bennett. Yes, indeed.
We got Raw Dollars, the 330, Youngstown.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Both 412 here.
Yeah.
Westview, stand up.
Let's go Westview in the building. Okay.
Litchburg 7. Says the 304, West Virginia. Ready for the NCAA 14 dynasty. Says trust the climb. Hashtag, I'm not even going to say it. The rest, I'm not hailing them. It's hail to Pitt. He's trying to say hail to West Virginia. It's hail to Pitt.
I thought it was go ears.
Stick with your own saying.
Yeah, go ears, power to Pitt. That's what it is. I got you, bro.
No, he's talking about our dynasty, though. I'm going to build a little NCAA. I told you about that. I said you're welcome to join. You could be James Madison if you want.
Why you guys say it like that? You can be James Madison if you want. Like, I felt like there was a little like, oh, if you want, you could take them right there. You know what I mean? We won't care about that school over there. Like, yo, chill out, man.
Whenever I brought him up before, you were like, oh, come on, you're just sticking with JMU.
Come on, man.
Because you thought their ratings and stuff would be worse, but you could build up the program, right?
Yeah. All that sounds good. But give my university some time to acclimate to the 1A level, okay? Can we get some time? Can I get a little buffer period, please? Jeez.
Hey, you want to read any more?
Yeah, let me get a couple more, and then after that, we'll go ahead and hit this first topic. I got Treatise Over, the 757, Virginia Beach, baby. He says, ready for Mitch to get us 10 wins. All right. Then we got Jar Devil, the 310, San Pedro, California. Love that, baby. Yes, indeed. Got the homie Vincent Murray in the building, just showing love. You know, we always appreciate you, baby. Hopefully you are not working too hard today either. All right. And then I shall go with Broken Leg Problems. Jeez, that's a heck of a name. Broken Leg Problems. The 937, the Gym City, Dayton, Ohio. All right.
I can read off this super chat real quick.
Okay.
Official momentum. Happy Wednesday, Moats and Deke. We about to have the highest paid safety in the league. Hoorah, hoorah to Money Minka.
Facts.
Deke, by the way, it's volume 1. He's got some laughing emojis. This was back to whenever he was shouting out his boy with the album yesterday. He just said volume, and I was like, I don't know what volume it is. So it was volume 1.
Deke said it's so crazy. Like, hey, man, whatever volume this is, I don't know which volume. I was like, oh, Deke, come on, man. You just got to just roll with it, bro. Just roll with it, man. Yeah. But no, that is dope.
We got an upper room member.
Oh, man, shout out to, this is James Martin. James Martin, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, baby. I like it. We definitely appreciate you, baby, as always. But what Official Momentum was talking about, man, potentially having Minka being named the highest paid safety in the league. If the reports from Aditi are true, Aditi Kikwabala with the NFL Network, if that is true, how do you feel about Minka being the highest paid safety in the league?
He deserves it.
Okay.
It's his time to get paid. It's almost like TJ last year.
Mm-hmm.
Your time's up. I mean, you got Myles Garrett, you got Joey Bosa getting paid a lot. You've outperformed them, so you deserve it. But then it goes back to, I hate how people say like, oh man, I'm so pumped to be just allocating this much money to players from a Steelers organization standpoint.
So
because
you
it messes up our cap space.
So you don't like when they pay him like that? No, I understand he deserves it, but I'm saying like, so okay, because that's what I was trying to figure. I didn't know if you were saying it like as a negative that he's going to be the highest paid safety for the team portion of it, versus us just saying, man, Minka's been a beast since he's come to Pittsburgh. He just deserves to be the highest paid safety. That's why I was trying to figure out the context a little bit.
No, he deserves it. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like TJ. Like my whole sentiment with TJ last year, I'm like, oh man, we've never paid an outside linebacker or one dude on the defense like this percentage of the cap being like close to 30 million. At the same time, you just do it. I mean, if this is what the market is, you don't want to lose TJ. You don't even want to lose TJ last year. I remember heading into the season, I just want TJ to be happy. I mean, if he can at least continue what he's been doing, he'll be worth it. But he exceeded that. Who knows? If he keeps this up, man, he gets 25 sacks this year. He's exceeding that contract, in my opinion. So Minkah, I think he's the best safety, or if not one of the top three, if you want to take the objective approach. So he just deserves it. His time's up. It's going to suck for just our cap space and stuff, but I have faith for our GM to be able to figure it out. Especially if Colbert's going to be around for, for this contract extension, but also who knows what type of role he's going to have going forward, at least if he's going to be overseeing things. So, I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, I am too, man. I understand, when you start paying non-quarterbacks this type of money, it does take away from other positions. But I think in Minkah's case, very similar to TJ's case, those guys are such big force multipliers that you don't mind paying those guys top end money, number one paid player at their position type money, when you know the productivity that's associated with them and the consistency that's associated with them. When you think of Minkah, he's pretty much always been available. When you think of Minkah, he's always making splash plays, or he makes them a lot more often than he doesn't. You hardly ever see him out of position. You hardly ever see him doing things that make you, feel a little uncomfortable when you watch his play. Like, he is a super consistent, just high-end talent. And I think he's a guy that is still has room to grow and improve. That's the crazy part. When we talk about TJ, we're like, I think he can still continue to do better. Because you think about the numbers he had last year in terms of TJ Watt and how much time he missed, or games where he wasn't healthy. It's like, man, if he did that under those circumstances, imagine when he has a full off season, when he is 100% healthy and he's coming into this season. The sky, he could still keep going with this thing. And I think for Minkah, similar things can be said. If you shore up that run defense in front of him, that takes a lot of pressure off of him. That can really allow him to trust those guys and then go back to being the freelance, playmaker that he likes to be. Whereas we know last year, the way our run defense was, it's hard for him to sit back in that deep middle of the field. You got to be ready to tackle, because we knew our run defense was very porous at the time. But if they get that addressed, man, I do think that that's only going to help his play even more, which in turn helps us as a defense even more. So, I definitely think that Minkah is worth it. And if that means that, you have to spend a little bit less on the strong safety position, or you have to spend a little less on a potential additional free agent, whether it's prior to the draft or after the draft, I'm okay with it, because Minkah is that daggone good.
Agreed. Yeah. So it looks like he'd be getting around 18, 19. You got Jamal Adams. Jeez, oh man. Jamal Adams getting 17.5
You said the
a
best
year.
in the nation? That Jamal Adams, the best in the nation?
Yeah. 17.5 a year. Harrison Smith at 16. Justin Simmons at 15. Budda Baker at 14. So it's probably going to be between that 17 to 20 range. What's good about him versus TJ is just that safety market, that safety position where we're not allocating 30 million. At least
it's not corner, it's not wide receiver, it's not outside linebacker. Safety, as much as we value it, it still doesn't get paid to the crazy extent. So yes, I am with you on that, man.
Yeah, he deserves it. So I'm good with it. I don't think it's anything surprising. TJ got his last year. He was up. Minkah's been – we've been talking about this for about a year even. Whenever we were talking about TJ contract and trying to figure out what our salary cap space was going to look like for the upcoming offseason. It's like, okay, we're going to have a ton of cap space, but we also got to be looking for that Minkah extension too, how much we're going to have to give him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine with it. No surprise. I just didn't know there was going to be serious talks going on right now. We all thought it was going to be later in the summer, maybe like around May or June, right?
Because that was definitely what Colbert had said, man. Now, granted, he wasn't specific about Minka, but when he was asked about doing extensions and it was prefaced for Deontay Johnson, that was his response. And he made it seem as if that's how he conducts business, period. You know what I mean? Is that, hey, he likes to wait until after the draft to do extensions. And that had been the history, but right now it's looking like, they want to cut that check on the front end. So I'm all for it, man. As long as the deal gets done and it doesn't affect Minka's availability for OTAs and training camp, because we saw last year with TJ Watt how him not being there at times, it did, limit him in a sense because his body was not to the peak condition that it was accustomed to being in. And that's when we saw TJ really start to miss time for the first time in his career. So as long as you're getting this deal done right now and we don't have to worry about it going forward, I think we'll be good, man.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Then we had two more supers that just came in also.
Okay. It's official momentum.
Hey, what up, official momentum?
He's keeping that fire streak going from yesterday.
Let's get it.
Okay. He says Moats and Deke as head coach and coordinator.
Uh-oh. I hope you're talking about on Madden. I must say, I don't have that juice in real life, man. Not me. But if it's on Madden, man, I give you what you want, man. I get you what you want.
I think it should be you as head coach, me as GM.
Ooh, oh Lord, you trying to put me in a bad situation? If I say, because I can't how you making the personnel moves. Not at all. You're gonna kill my roster, man. You're gonna kill my roster. You trade the house for aging stars. How you feeling
about Bennett quarterback?
Yeah, exactly. Between the AJ Green, I will never forget when you said, man, let's give up a couple of picks for AJ Green 2 years ago. I'm like, bruh, I am not feeling this at all. Can't do it. Can't do it. Receiver. My man say, we're going to bring back Tay. We're going to bring back AB. I might call L. You was going to call L. Bell a year ago. I'm just like, bro, now we got to chill, man. We got to chill, okay?
Well, yeah, AB would be on your roster this year. I'm off Bell. You'd have Ben and AB. How do you think you could handle it?
I think it's going to end terribly. I personally do. I think it'll end terribly. If AB's to the point now where he's undressing on the field, he might sock bid. I can see that happen. If he's already at this stage, he might legit sock bin, lefty style. So, yeah. I'm
just trying to put the best roster out there for you.
That's what you call it, huh? Is it the best roster for you, or is it the best roster for the Steelers? Because I think it's a difference here, man.
Robert Hosler, what up, y'all? I want to take my girlfriend to Pamela's in Pitt for breakfast on Easter.
Let's go.
Y'all know if they'll be open or which location is best. Peace and love. I don't know if they'll be open.
I don't see why they would be closed on Easter, though, man. Like, that's a big money-making day for breakfast spots, diners, more in particular. And if you're asking me, the best one to go to is obviously in the Strip District. But if you're trying to go to where it's a little chiller and not as much crowd and traffic, go to one in, I think it was Mount Lebanon. I think that's where it's at. I would hit that one. Yeah. If you're trying to be a little bit more chill, go to one in Mount Lebanon. But if you want that, like, legit, this is the spot. You get all the allure of being down in the Strip District, man, I would definitely say to go to that one. I mean, every once in a while, me and my wife, we go down there just for that feel of like, oh, yeah, we really in this thing. Cash only, too. It just feels better that way.
Tyree McClendon.
I think you skipped one. I think Official Momentum had one above Robert.
Oh, did he?
As well, yeah.
I got him. Yeah,
all right.
He says, "Hey, by the way, welcome to the upper room. Hey, anyway, okay. Could you hook up your boy with a gig with the Steelers?"
Okay.
Also, how about a call or cameo on the show?
Okay.
What's your take?
Hey, man, Deke is the second mic. So you would have to fight Deke for that spot, okay? I'm not in this, okay? You'd have to fight Deke for that spot. And you seen Deke. Deke showed off that peak man physique yesterday. I'm barely on social media, and they got to my attention. They was like, yo, bro, check your bands. I'm like, yo, what we looking at? I was like, oh. I said, this is what I've been missing.
Spring training vibes.
I loved it, bro. I loved it. I was like, yo, so Official Momentum, you seen what Deke looked like, baby. If you haven't, check out his social media, bro. It's legit, okay? So be careful. But in terms of, getting the gig with the Steelers, I do not have that type of juice. I'm just an employee my daggone self with them. You know what I mean? But whatever vein you're trying to get in, I feel like you're trying to get into like the media part of it. the best way I can tell you to do is just literally start recording. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, when we first started the podcast, it was more so because I didn't feel like I had enough opportunities for myself. And instead of me just continually trying to call people, different network stuff like that, and you're hearing hey man, no, we'll get you here, but we want to set up and wait till this time we want to do it. We got to wait until that. I was just like, bro, bump that. Let's start our own thing. Let's start recording now. And with platforms like YouTube and all the other streaming services, you get to, in a sense, control your narrative. You get to, in a sense, be your own person. And you're also building up your reel. So when you do try to get a job with the Steelers or anywhere else, you'll have actual footage of yourself on camera, footage of yourself, being a sports personality and talking and stuff like that. So that's what I would recommend right now, because I don't got the juice to call the Steelers and say, hey man, hire my dog official momentum. I don't got that juice. I don't even want to have that juice. Now that I think, I don't want that. That sounds like a gatekeeper. I don't want to be the gatekeeper. I'm on the road with you. I'm on the road with you. All right. But we do open the phone lines. So if you catch us, when we back in person, maybe next week when we open the phone lines, man, if you're the lucky caller, that's another opportunity as well to at least get you a little spot, on the show. We've seen, when we do these things on the, not the weekends, but when you see us, opening up the phone lines typically at the end of the week, that's your opportunity, man. So as long as you catch one of them, man, you'll be good, baby. And we'll be doing a lot more of that when my man Deke get back from shooting his, they call it the Deke Diggler project down in Florida. That's why he got the stash. So he got an outfit change, his wardrobe change. He getting a little wild down there, man, showing all type of skin. But when he comes back, we will be having the phone lines open a lot more frequently. And then after that, you'll be able to obviously call in, man, if you're, part of that group, maybe. So that's the long answer. All good, though.
Hey, how about that spring training game yesterday? It was kind of cool because opening day is officially today. Yeah. So they had their starters. Like the Phillies had Bryce Harper. Okay. All their starters out there. And we had our guys, a bunch of dudes that I don't know. So that was the disparity that was going on in the two teams. And we just so happened to lose 5-1. It's just a shame.
It's all right. It's all right. We're accustomed to that, though. It's not new to us. We're accustomed to this, man.
Yeah. Tyree McClendon. If the Steelers sign Tyrann Mathieu and draft one of the top 3 corners in the draft, do you think we will be Super Bowl contenders being a defense-first team?
I think we'd have a chance, but I think that it just puts a lot of pressure on us. I mean, we've seen San Fran the past couple of years. That's been their method. Elite defense and just consistent offensive play. Not high-end offensive play, just consistent. Just keep the ball moving. Don't turn it over. Make the plays that you're supposed to make, and that keeps them in all those games. And this, you've seen, the dividends pay off in a sense. But we also see how their margin of error is extremely tight, and that's why a lot of times when we talk about San Fran in the postseason, it's hard for us to legitimately believe that they're going to win it all when you're looking at some of the quarterbacks that they have to face. And we know how an elite quarterback, an elite offense carves up an elite defense in this league. We've seen that. Chiefs versus Bills last year, right? So that's the only concern that I have if you're just loading up the defense side of the ball, but we're still, limited at that quarterback position. But you can win that way. It will have you in the conversation because, defense it still matters. Still matters. It's just hard to play at that type of level for 4 quarters versus these elite caliber quarterbacks, especially in the postseason. But what about you, man? What you think,
Mitchell
man?
Mason. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just we got to see one of those dudes clutch up.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to be in the mix. We're going to be in the playoff mix, AFC North contention, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Can you rise to the occasion? Monday night game. Try to get a leg up in the division against the Ravens. Or if it's like, we got to win 2 of these last 3 games. One of them's on Sunday Night Football. What are you going to do in those moments? We knew what Ben was going to do. What's Mitchell Mason going to do? That's the real question. Because I think they're going to play good enough to keep us relevant. Or even when we get to the playoffs, it's the divisionals. We're down 6 points. Can you get us a touchdown with 3 minutes left?
Right.
That type of stuff. We're going to have to find out.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Zach Bartram. Deke was looking like he was pregnant.
Yo. I didn't say you was, I thought you was just on the White Claws, man. I thought you was just, a little bloated. You weren't pregnant, though, baby. No, I ain't going that far. No, not Deke. No.
No, I think it was a competition between me and Vogelbach for the Pirates for who was the biggest dude in the stadium, who had the most juice. I couldn't believe we got this dude. This dude, Vogelbach. Let me explain this real quick. This guy is basically the John Daly of baseball. This guy is huge.
Oh, wow.
Pirates played him last year when he was on the Brewers. He jacked probably 2 or 3 home runs against us. And once I saw him, like, he's such an anomaly. As soon as he steps to the plate, you're like, oh, wow, this is unique. Because it is. It's literally like John Daly on the golf course. But this dude's in baseball. He's huge.
So does he have, like, crazy power at least?
I guess. He didn't really do that good last year. He only had, like, 9 home runs. He made an all-star game, like, 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
But, yeah, he's supposed to be a power hitter, essentially. And I said last year, as soon as he hit these home runs off us, I'm like, bro, we got to get him on the Pirates. Like, I don't care what we do. This guy is just amazing for the culture. Like, if we're going to lose like this, just get this guy in the building.
Get some fan favorites, man. Absolutely.
And I see him warming up in the batter's box yesterday. And I was just so happy. I was so happy.
He said I was so happy.
Like, I was live streaming Vogelbach at bats because I was so pumped.
Oh, my God. Deke said, look, man, that's a professional athlete. Yep. My body looks just like his. I think I'm all right. Jeez.
Yeah, me and Vogelbach were competing.
Yo,
Black and Martyr. Man. Have a good day, fellas. Thank you.
Hey, salute you, team. Captain, man. Always good to see you in the building, baby. Yes, indeed.
We got 2 more. Let's go, UW. You know, outside of quarterback and elite O-lineman and inside defensive lineman, this draft is deep at all of our positions of need. Perfect timing. Hopefully pick number 20 is Davis or Travis.
Hey, talking about Jordan Davis, Travis Jones.
Travis going up to 20. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a little early for me, but depending on, where you think he falls in that second round, I don't want to take him at 20. I think that's a little bit too high for me. But I mean, Travis is definitely going to be a good player, I think, though.
Official momentum. Moats, Deke, I ain't going to fight y'all.
You are not y'all. I don't fight anybody. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. Yeah, no.
How about Steelers ball boy, Moats?
Oh.
Also, 30-10. Hashtag Haskins, Mason, Dobbs, or he's throwing Dobbs in there, or Trubisky.
Is Dobbs included in your 30-10 analysis?
No, he's not on the team. He's not on the team.
I was just checking. I know how you felt about that.
Dobbs would not be 30. I'd put him around 20-10.
Okay. Now, ball boy, I mean, should you be like Larry Fitzgerald? Remember, he was ball boy for the Vikings, man. Back with Moss and Chris Carter. So that worked out for him as well, man. No, I like it.
I'm glad we don't have to fight, though. Thank you.
Yeah. Because I would have commentated it. I would have definitely commentated the fight, without a doubt. Live streamed it as well. But no violence. So with that being said, man, let's get into this first topic today. And we want to talk about, man, where the 3 biggest positional needs for the Pittsburgh Steelers going into the draft right now, man. Just kind of how we feel about them as a whole. Because we've obviously talked about certain elements of it. We talked about certain players that we're, potentially looking at. But we really haven't said what we view as this team's biggest needs. Now, NFL.com, they had an article where they essentially listed quarterback as the number 1 need. They said defensive back as the 2nd need, and then they put wide receiver as the 3rd need, if I remember correctly.
These guys are clowns. Is this how we're sitting right now?
Yeah, this article had just came out. I think it was like a day or 2 ago. Yeah, and that's kind of how they viewed it. They was like quarterback was definitely the number 1 need. Then it was DB, mainly emphasis on safety, and then they said wide receiver as the 3rd one. Yeah.
Okay. DB in terms of safety. All right, that makes sense.
And let us know in the chat also, man, how would you list the top 3 needs for the Steelers right now? What positions they are, and please label them so we can know, like, okay, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. So we'll obviously react to that as well. But Deke, man, how would you, if you had to put your top 3, starting at the 3rd most important, what would you say that is for you?
You got to let me talk this out a little bit. So,
oh Lord, here he goes, man. He about to get janky.
The roster as is right now.
As is.
It back or no? That's the X factor for me.
What is the roster right now? Is Tuitt on the roster, or is he's not on the roster?
Contract.
Yes. Okay, so if he's on the roster, we're looking at him as he's on the roster. That's all I'm saying. Until new information arises.
Okay. As we're sitting right now. Mm-hmm. Then I'm actually. What was their list? It was QB, receiver, and defensive back. All right, I think they hit 2 of them.
QB, DB, defensive back. I mean QB, DB, wide receiver. Excuse me.
Okay, I think they hit 2 of them. Then I got receiver then as my 3rd. We need a 3rd receiver. We need just some depth because all we have right now is Claypool, Deontay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our depth chart, and they got Cody White listed as our next receiver after those two. Oh, no. I'm sorry. They have Anthony Miller, actually. So after Anthony Miller, it's Cody White at 4 and like Gunner, Sims, Rico, Bussy. We need to upgrade that room, and we've talked about it. Whether either signing a dude, we got to draft maybe a guy or two as well. So that is, for me, number 3.
Okay. For me, I would say my third thing is cornerback. I enjoy the fact that because I like the fact we have Levi Wallace. I like the fact
specifically corner, not defensive back.
Specifically, this is my third need, specifically cornerback, because I do think that Levi Wallace, Akello Witherspoon, Cam Sutton, I think all 3 of those guys are good players. I think all 3 of those guys played well last year, and I think they will play well again this year. My problem is none of those guys have proven to this point in their career that they are cornerback number 1 and that they can match up with the elite talent, or at least take away the next tier of elite receivers. Like we haven't seen that from those guys. We said with Akello, when we talked about him the other day, we said, man, they called him, was it the Trayvon Diggs for us, right? In the sense that, yes, he has created some splash plays, but at the same time, we haven't really seen him in a lockdown role just yet. And even last year, when we were reviewing his play, we said that down the stretch, it picked up a lot more in contrast to earlier when he had first got here. To me, I just would like to, I think that it would be different if we had a little bit more high-end talent, a guy that we felt either is cornerback 1 right now, or we think that he has all the intangibles coming out of college, right? We talked about Sauce Gardner and guys like him, and we're like, man, even though we have the guys that we have at corner, we would still love if he was a part of that group, because it would just solidify it and really put the rest of this stuff to bed. So that's why for me, I have corner as my third, biggest position need for the Steelers. Okay. So what's your second one?
Man, I might want to swap this one with my third, but this is on the list, kind of. It's linebacker, but it's just predicated on Devin Bush, really.
No,
it's
I
just your confidence level in him.
Yeah.
Because we got our 2 guys in Miles Jack and Devin Bush as we sit right here. Dude, really talented guy. It's just, how do you feel like Devin Bush is going to do this season? If the Steelers organization is really confident in him for whatever reason, then we don't need to worry about this position. But at the same time, for me, we do, whether it's in the first round, second round, third round, just get another guy in there for some type of competition, just to maybe light a fire under Bush's ass. But that's who I got second. But maybe I kind of want to move to the third, just because as we sit right now, not a position where we're actually trying to get it's more like we're getting a guy for competition. Whereas wide receiver 3, we're literally drafting someone to kind of be a starter for us. Not drafting or signing, just bringing in a guy that would be a starter. Whereas right now, I think we're willing to roll with those 2. So I'm actually going to move them to 3. I'll put receiver at my second one.
Okay.
I'll swap that.
Okay. The little flipperooski. I like it. Like it. So for me, man, my number 2 is wide receiver. I thought about linebacker as well. The reason I didn't go linebacker, I do think that Miles Jack is going to help out this inside group in a major way. And I also think that Devin, feeling the pressure of this being a contract year for him, he is going to step up his play also. I also think that Miles Jack being there is going to rub off on Devin. He's going to see, what it takes to be successful in this league. He's going to see the way that you need to operate in the film room, on the practice field, and things like that. And I think that's going to really benefit Devin, along with, as we're sitting here today, Tuitt is on the roster. So with me, I'm taking that same approach that Tuitt is back and available. If he's back and available, that will help out Devin. That will help out, the inside part of that defense. And that's why I didn't want to put the inside linebackers up here. So for me, I put wide receiver as the second most important need right now, because yes, we do have Deontay and we do have Chase. And both of those guys played well last year, but it was a little bit of a mixed bag, right? We thought that, both of those guys, even though they played well, they did kind of fall short of the expectations that we had for them in terms of either one of those guys taking that step to truly be wide receiver 1. I do think that when you're talking about the Steelers offense, you're going to need a third receiver. And we legitimately do not have that guy right now. And the third receiver in this league is essentially another starting player just based on the amount of times that you're using 3 wide receiver sets. And I would have had this move a little bit higher, but I still lean on the fact that we're going to try to run our offense through Najee. And by doing that, we're going to have Pat Freiermuth on the field a lot more than he has been in the past. And I just think for Pat, he should be able to alleviate some of that pain of not having a bona fide third receiver. But I do think we need to do something there, whether we're drafting a guy or going for agents like we talked about last episode, just to solidify that group in a sense. So that's ultimately where I'm at with that wide receiver group being the number 2 need for my perspective, man.
For sure. All right, then 1.
So
we agree on 1?
So hold on, before we get to 1, let me just go through the chat real quick and see, what they got to say real quick. All right, because we got to give a little drama, right, before we read our number 1 off. See what the people say. So OMG Reptar, he says safety is the number 1 need, wide receiver is the number 2 need, and he has corner as the number 3 need. Okay, I like that. D Rockden says wide receiver at number 1, cornerback is the 2nd need, and then safety is the 3rd need. David Stroop has wide receiver at 1, defensive line at 2, and then DB at 3. Let's go UW. What up, Let's go UW? Of course, he says inside linebacker. I see you still angling for your boy Chad Muma. I see. Trust me, you ain't fooling nobody around here, baby. I'm on the Chad Muma train. I'm with you, okay? But he says inside linebacker is number 1, interior D line as number 2, and then wide receiver as 3. Now, this is where we get a little more parity. Robert Hostler says wide receiver as the 1st need, DB is the 2nd need, and then he puts quarterback as the 3rd, because I hadn't seen any quarterback list up here just yet. All right. Matt Nerdy says QB is the number 1 need, offensive line the number 2 need, and then linebacker the 3rd need. Okay. And then Carmichael, the sports guru, he kept it clean for us. He says quarterback is the number 1 need, quarterback is the number 2 need, and then quarterback being the number 3 need. So I could definitely understand, his sentiment right there. And then Lovin' Madden, a.k.a. Stephanie Ramirez, up early on that west side. She says number 1, defensive tackle, number 2, wide receiver, and number 3, offensive line. Okay. I like it. So I feel like wide receiver and D line were definitely constants in this thing. Safety saw a little bit more, and then we started to get a little bit more quarterback action towards the end of this thing. But for you, Deke, what would you say is the Steelers' number 1 position need right now, man?
It's got to be safety. So that's why I agree with the NFL. If they're just talking defensive backs and including safety, we don't have one right now. I mean, unless you think Carl Joseph can just step in and replace what Terrell Edmonds was doing. I think that's why we're talking to Tyrann Mathieu. Supposedly we have a deal in place for Terrell Edmonds too. So that's the number 1 thing we just don't have a starting strong safety across from Edmonds. And I mean, some people are bringing up quarterback, but it's weird. It's probably predicated on just whether or not you believe that we can win with the quarterbacks in place.
Yeah.
Because, we could upgrade the quarterback position in theory, but what's that going to take? That's going to take a trade. That's going to take us drafting in the 1st round. And what does that mean for our team building, and just the overall roster heading into the season? I don't think it's that beneficial. That's why I don't really have it as a position of need here, because I think we can win with what we got. So safety, we just need a starter. It's pretty much that simple for me.
Yeah. For me, man, I'm right there with you. I put strong safety as well, because we do not have that guy. You're right. We have Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's elite, who's a high-end safety. We know what he does, but right now he does not have a Robin. Whether we're talking Edmonds, whether we're talking Tyrann Mathieu, whether you're talking Landon Collins, Keanu O'Neal, any of these guys, whether we're talking drafting a guy, we currently do not have that player available to us right now. And if you go Carl Joseph, we number 1 know you have the injury concerns, but also he hasn't really had, quality tape these past couple of years because of him being out. So there's still a big question mark around him in that avenue. And then when you think of Trey Norwood, he played well at times, but we also, were a little nervous at times, if you're talking about him being out there full time at that safety position. So for me, man, I definitely think that's the most important need right now. Yeah, because at wide receiver, I'm like, you still have two quality starters in Chase and Deontay. When you talk about cornerback, you have quality players out there. When you talk about inside linebacker, D-line, you have quality players. But right now, at the strong safety position, we just don't have that guy available to us right now. So that's why for me, man, I definitely have strong safety as the number one positional need, baby.
Where would you have D-line if Tuitt wasn't back?
Oh,
then you have Wormley, Loudermilk.
Right.
Do you put them up in the third and bounce corners?
I probably do, yeah, because right now I'm leaning on Tuitt being back along with Cam Hayward already being in there. We know Cam and Tuitt together, that is a top-notch combo. But when you take away Tuitt, you have an aging Tyson Alualu. It makes me a little bit more concerned. Granted, we do think that Loudermilk is going to take a next step. But still, him taking the next step compared to where Tuitt currently is, I still think there's a significant gap there. And if you don't have that type of player out there for you in terms of a Stephon Tuitt, I do think you're still going to have some issues as it pertains to the run game. Just because with Miles Jack, even though he plays downhill and he's really good against the run, he's still not a shock and lock, just bruising up these old linemen. He beats them with, good technique, being in position, anticipation, and just his quicks. But when you talk about having these D linemen up on him, that could, cause his game to be a little bit hindered in a sense. So yeah, if Tuitt is not available, if Tuitt is not back, then I definitely move, the interior D lineman part. I probably put that at 2 in front of wide receiver. Because like I said, at the end of the day, you still have your two quality guys at wide receiver, and you still can get away with it by using Pat Freiermuth as a pseudo third receiver in a sense. But with that D lineman, if we don't have Tuitt out there, we are in a little bit of a issue because we do have smaller interior linebackers. Even if you draft a Chad Muma, he's still going to be on the lighter side. We talked about Nakobe Dean. He's still on the smaller side. Unless you're going Leo Chenal, you're not really going to have a guy that is a traditional stack, shock and lock type LB in the interior part of your defense. So you're going to definitely feel that loss of Tuitt a lot more. So I would definitely put interior D lineman as the number 2 thing if Tuitt isn't back. But I'm hoping that my man Tuitt is back, and as long as he's still on the roster, I'm going to keep operating with that assumption.
Would it change our approach, though, in terms of who we bring in? Like, would we just stick with Wormley and Loudermilk and then just focus on nose tackle, though, instead? Like, would we be looking to sign another, edge guy for that 3-4 on the defensive line? Or are we just sticking with Wormley, Loudermilk?
Honestly, I'll be looking to bring in a 3-4 edge, the DN dude. You know what I mean? Because that's what Tuitt plays. He's the 5 technique. And then when you go to sub-package ball, he bumps in to become a 3 technique. That's Wormley. That's Loudermilk. At nose, I'm confident in Tyson. Because as long as Tyson is healthy, I know what he's going to give me. I know how consistent he plays and how he ragdolls a lot of these centers. That was another element that was missing the majority of last season. I would feel fine, rolling with him. And we also brought back Montravius Adams. He's another guy that I feel like can play over the nose and still be fine. We also know that he showed flashes at times last year bumping out there to the 3 technique. But none of those guys are Tuitt. And that's, kind of how I end it. It's like, man, Tuitt is a special player when he is healthy, when he is motivated. And we saw that, prior to last season when he went and had the double-digit sacks. We saw how dominant he was at times. He really put it together and was a lot more consistent. To me, I don't think we have an interior D lineman outside of Cam Hayward that can give you what Tuitt has given us when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our list.
Absolutely, man. But I like it, though, man. I like that. And I'm trying to think, man. Let me see if anyone else came through and said anything. If we had anything different. 2 cents warranted. He said wide receiver. He said, wide receiver is the first one. He put nose tackle as the second one, and then DB as the third one. Okay, I could definitely understand that. If he's looking at, Tyson saying that he's a little bit older, maybe not as high on Montravius, then sure, I could definitely see that. But yeah, I don't see anything else.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah,
it's just more just some back and forth.
Yeah,
going on in the chat.
Okay, so I like that then. I like
always
that.
Engaging, though. We always appreciate the back and forth. It's always good.
Absolutely. So we'll go to the next part of this discussion. And once again, what do we think are the 3 areas that we are most confident in with this Steelers team as well, right? So let us know in the chat the 3 areas that you're most confident in for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. All right, and for this one, I'll start, right? So for me, man, and we're listening the exact same way, right? Put them in order, 1, 2, and 3. So for me, I'm starting at my 3rd position that I'm most confident in, and that's the homie Chris Boswell and that special teams unit, man. Because let's be real, man.
Off the top rope.
Let's be real, man. We know what Boz has
with
been.
The stunner there.
Yeah, you know what Boz has been for this team. We know we talk about him as a Justin Tucker light. You know what I mean? Like, he's not Tucker, no, but he is definitely the second best kicker in this league, or he's in that conversation in terms of consistency, in terms of leg strength, hitting from 50 plus, clutch moments. And we've seen what it looks like when he is not on his game. We've seen what that looks like and how it killed our season in theory, you know, that 2019 year. Was that 2018 season, excuse me, 2018 season when he was dealing with his little injury. We know what that looks like when he is not on his game. We've experienced what it was like before he got here, after Swish and before Boz. We know what we went through in a sense with that carousel of kickers and stuff like that. So to me, man, I definitely have to start with Boz because he is a weapon for us. He got it. He helped us a major way last year. You know, when you talk about a guy as consistent as him, you need that, especially with the way that we were playing last year and the way that we're talking about playing this year. You can't win tight games just with defense if your field goal kicker is inconsistent, if your kicker isn't accurate, if your kicker can't hit from 50 plus at a high level. You need those type of guys to win with this formula. And if this is the formula we're going with, then all things are pointing to that in terms of, hey, man, elite defense, build up the talent around the quarterback and make sure that quarterback doesn't turn the ball over and doesn't kill us. You're going to need Boz to be on his A game. And for me, I'm just elitely confident in Boz, man. I know what he's capable of, and I know how consistent he's been, man. Yep. Okay. So what's your 3rd one for you, man?
Is Tuitt back for this one too?
If you want him to be back, man, like I said, he's still on the roster. So that's why for me, I'm looking at it as he's still on the roster. All right.
I guess you have to consider his 1-year layoff though too, with him coming back. Whenever you're talking about confidence.
Yeah.
Can I talk this one through a little bit too?
Oh, Lord, here he is, Vic. Hey,
because
do what you need to do.
How much are we talking position group versus the player? And also expectations too.
Hey, man, you talk it however you need to talk it. At the end of the day,
like Najee Harris.
At the end of the day, when we talk about our 3 areas where we're most confident in, if you feel like, hey, because this player is that good, that's why I have them as one of my top 3 most confident positions, that's fine. You could say quarterback. And you could be like, man, I think that, you know, Mitch is going to be able to come in and not turn the ball over. I think that, you know, if it's Mason, he's a 30-10 guy. I think Hass is 30. Like, if you want to go that route, go for it.
Yeah. Because Najee Harris, I'm very confident in him just being really good for us. Are we confident in him taking that next step and being like the best running back in the league? I don't know. But we're also talking about the running back position group. We don't have much depth there. So that's what's tough for me. Because I'm very confident in Najee Harris. Like, he's one of the guys I think that's just going to be a staple for us. Receiver, Deontay Johnson-Claypool. I'm confident in them being solid, like, you know, borderline top 25 receivers. Am I confident in them taking the next step? And then we're also talking about the position group. We don't have much depth there. So that's a tough thing. Fryerman, same thing. I'm really confident in him. But where's our depth at after him? How much do you believe in Zach Gentry? I know you were kind of high on Zach Gentry there. Yeah. But could Freiermuth next year become Travis Kelce? Right. I'm still not sure yet. I do think he should do a lot better. He should make a huge rookie to sophomore jump. O-line, we improve, but we got a bunch of young guys. Oh, man, this is tough. Okay, this is tough.
Yeah, so your third most important, the third area where you're super confident, whatever group it is.
If we had Edmonds back, I would probably put safety in this. Minka and Terrell Edmonds is two staples right there, but Edmonds isn't back. So this is like really tough for me. All right. I am going to go with. I got it played out. All right, sure? I'm gonna go with. That boy funny, man. I am. I'm gonna go with Najee Harris. As my third one. Running back group, I guess, if you want to say that, but Najee Harris is gonna be a big part of that, the main part of it, and with our offensive line upgrades. Like, dude, put up top 5 stats for a running back last year with our shitty offensive line, with those upgrades, with Najee Harris going from rookie to sophomore. I think there's going to be a jump there, but I just think his floor, his baseline is probably what we saw last year. I think the sky's up. I just don't know if he's going to make the jump to being like one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in the league, but he's going to be a guy that we could hang our hat on to show up next season. So I got him at 3. Now, the only reason I might not have him higher is because of the group in general, but I think Najee's going to get that much of a workload. I think he deserves to be in the top 3.
Now, are you worried about a sophomore slump? Are you worried about, the workload getting to him in a sense? Because we know at least last year you had the threat of Ben, and we know his reputation alone could cause teams to not always want to pack the box. And we talked about how, Ben would be clutch in terms of situational ball, end of the half, end of the second half, fourth quarter time frame. We knew what he could bring you. And at times as a defender, if you see him heat up, you would have to respect that a lot more than per se a Mitch Trubisky, Mason, Haskins, or even a rookie quarterback. So does that make you hesitate at any time?
No, because as I mentioned, I think the improvements in the offensive line, and I think Canada getting his style of quarterback where he could run more RPOs could help Najee.
Yeah, because he ain't going to be limited now, man. Last year he was handcuffed by that quarterback they had. Who was that quarterback last year, man? You know what I'm saying? Who was that?
I think it was the reverse.
Man? They said that quarterback was holding my man back. Canada was trying to go in here and show he could be an elite coordinator, and he just... he had somebody that was not capable of performing the way that he needed him to perform at quarterback. I think that's what the messaging was this offseason, right? If I remember correct.
What's that movie with Tom Hanks where the ship gets taken over?
You going right there, Captain Phillips on this, man? I had a captain.
Is that what it was?
I had a captain.
Ben was captain. Yeah. Ben was Captain Phillips, and Canada came in and the ship was taken from him.
Oh my god!
It was tough to witness.
You are crazy.
And it was in a Houdini act too. I didn't realize it throughout the season until kind of as the weeks went on. It was like the last few weeks we really got to start to see it, and then all the comments that started to come out. It was like, wow, this happened right before my very eyes.
Man. Hey, I get it. Anything for my dog 7. I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
So yeah, I got Najee at 3. Man, you know what? Boswell probably should be in my top 3. I'm just not going to include him though. He should be.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just for the sake of including other positions, he should be. You're right. I agree.
Because I always think of what it looks like if he's not out there. What does that look like if he's not available to us? What does that look like if he goes back to missing? We're in a world of hurt. That's all.
I'm with you. He should be in my top 3. He should be. But I won't include him in my last 2 picks, but he should be.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I just remember, how you was talking about him when he wasn't hitting, and now all of a sudden that he's back making it. Now it's we don't even care about kicker anymore. I see. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I just didn't include special teams in my thought process. Yeah. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's another misstep on my part in terms of my relationship with the special teams unit.
Oh, you only care about them when they're doing bad, right? When they're doing good, oh man, well, wait, we didn't talk about these guys.
Hey, if you wanted to, even you could have thrown Gunner into your conversation too. You got an all-pro return.
Why isn't he in that conversation? We talked about what it looked like when it was Ryan Switzer. How much we complained about that. We talked about even last year how at times Presley Harvin III inconsistency at punting had us frustrated with that element. That is just funny how we lose sight of that when we're thinking about areas we're most confident in or areas that we like to talk about. But yet we see how impactful it is when the special teams unit is not doing what they're supposed to do. Shoot, we saw the San Francisco 49ers win a game because of special teams in terms of beating Green Bay at Lambeau. We saw us beat the Buffalo Bills behind special teams play. We saw us flip the game behind special teams play against the Chargers. It matters. It matters in a major way, man. But
who you got for 2?
For me, at number 2, I went running back here, and mainly because of Najee Harris. If we had more depth, I would put that at 1. But right now, I have it at 2 because I do think Najee will be able to produce similar results. I don't know if they'll necessarily be better statistically than what he did last season, because I do think he's going to have a lot more attention on him this year because of who's at quarterback. But I do anticipate him still being able to provide us, with that wave that we need to ride for our offense to be successful. But it's going to be largely predicated on his health, him being available. We saw at the end of the year when he did get hurt, in a sense with the elbow injury, it made our offense look a little bit more rugged. We were trying to go through Benny Snell and Kalen Ballage, and that's why it's more important to have that second guy that can really come in and alleviate some of that pressure from Najee. But as a whole, I think Najee's going to come back and be just as good, if not better. I just don't know if the numbers from a statistical standpoint are going to necessarily be better. But I do feel eyeball test wise, we will feel like he is a more improved running back. He'll be more patient, better vision, and just understanding, how to run, when he needs to take shots, when he needs to, get out of bounds, take a little chill part right here, save his body in a sense, man. All that comes with growth. All that comes with, him being out there a little bit more and just feeling more comfortable. And I do feel like even though the O-line is still, questions of how we're going to implement these guys, I do think as a whole, the talent pool is a lot better this year at this time frame than it was a year ago. And that will pay dividends for Najee in this offense as well, man. So that's why I have running back as the number 2, area that I'm most confident in with the Steelers team.
Yeah. So for me, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying, so what's your number 2 thing? Yep.
I'm going to go with defensive line with Tua coming back.
Okay.
And Alualu coming back too.
Okay. Not worried about any rust? No rust?
A little bit. That's why I might need to bump them to 3. I might need to do another swap.
Yeah.
But Cam Hayward playing at the level that he's been playing at, all pro, one of the best in the league, with Alualu coming back, with Stephon Tuitt coming back. Hopefully, the rust could be a factor. But just those 3, when we're talking about as a unit,
right?
That's a really damn good defensive line. Right? I mean, I
would agree.
Top 5, just off the top of my head in the league. But then you add the depth with Chris Wormley, Isaiah Loudermilk, and Montravius Adams. Now, it's different if we're talking about those guys as starters, but with those guys as backups.
Oh, you feel a lot more confident with them. Absolutely.
That's what I mean. So I'm going to have them as my 2 spot because maybe I'm leaning a little bit more just as a unit, all those guys together versus just one player.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We probably had the worst last year, but with those 2 guys coming back, now it doesn't look as bad.
No, I would definitely agree with that, man. Tuitt is the X factor, man. Him being back changes a lot in terms of how we view that D-line. Yeah, if he's back and he's healthy, Tyson's back, he's healthy, they become one of those areas where we're extremely confident in that group because you already have a Cam Hayward out there. And we know how consistent, how high end of a talent he's been, how productive a player he's been. And now when you're talking about guys that are playing starter snaps last season in terms of Wormley, in terms of Loudermilk, in terms of Montravius, now you're putting them as your depth pieces. It definitely bolsters that group a lot more. The only thing for me, the reason why I didn't have them up there is I do feel a little bit concerned with, a little bit of rust from Tuitt with him being out for a year. Understanding that he did have a procedure on his knee done last year. It's like all of those questions are going through my mind of, is he completely healthy mentally? What's his headspace like? Because we know just because a guy is out there, if he's mentally not, where he needs to be, that's going to show up on that field as well. And those are all the question marks that we just have to live with regardless of if he's coming back or not. We just have to assume that if he is out there, those are some of the questions that we're going to have to deal with until he puts them to rest. So that's why for me, I didn't include him up there, but I could definitely, see why you would put him up there if all those things work out the way they should work out.
Yeah, but, they work out for sure. I mean, that's why I could borderline swap them with Najee or even just boot them out. And like you have with kicker Chris Boswell, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, so let's see what the chat says before we list our number 1 position that we're most confident with. Rod Dollar, he says D-line is the number 1 thing he's most confident with. Running back is the number 2 thing, and then he puts special teams as the 3rd thing. I guess when you have, an all-pro return man and a former all-pro in terms of Boswell, because I think he has 1 all-pro as a kicker, if I remember
at least
correctly.
The Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I know he has the Pro Bowl. I couldn't remember if he had 1 all-pro or not.
He should for that, the 2017
That's what I was thinking.
Right?
I wasn't sure if he got it or not, but I know that he's at least been a Pro Bowler. But when you talk about those 2, I definitely think that, having an all-pro and a Pro Bowler overshadows the inconsistency that we've had at the punt position, in terms of last year. Vincent Murray, he says O-line is the number 1 thing that he's confident in. Number 2, running back. And number 3,
he said O-line.
He said O-line's number 1. Now, you think about the way we've allocated our resources money-wise, that has become essentially the highest paid unit on the offense. I mean, when you're talking about Chooks, what he got paid, you talk about James Daniel, Mason Cole, all 3 of those guys are significantly compensated in contrast to what that group was getting paid a year ago. So you could make the case that, man, we're paying more money, or at least for the interior guys that are new, that should, equate to a way better unit, a way more consistent unit. Whereas when we're talking about the outside position, that wide receiver, we are missing that third receiver. When we're talking about tight end, we're speculating that Pat can take that jump, but what does that jump look like? We still, it's a mixed review on Zach Gentry in terms of how good we think he is, or if you need to upgrade that spot. We hit on running back where we said, yeah, outside of, Najee is great, but the rest of the group is like, man, who is it? So I could see him making that case. I personally want to put them at 1, but I could definitely understand, why his sentiment would be what it is right there.
I think it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. There's reason for confidence or optimism in any of these groups. It just goes to what are your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Litzberg 7, he has outside linebacker as his number 1 position that he's confident in. Number 2, he says kicker. And then number 3, he went with halfback. Halfback, man, that's dope. I ain't seen the word HB in a minute, man. You got to put RB, bro. You threw me off for it. So I thought I was playing NCAA like 2007. What? Halfback? Lord. Nah, I'm messing with you, baby. It's all good. All right. Kenneth Moses says outside linebacker is the first that he's most confident in. Running back is the second. And then the kicking game as the third part. Man, shout out to the special teams getting a little love in the building, man. Shout out to the special teams, baby. Let me see if there's any other style. Okay, AG Shadowman. This is a good one. He says running back is the number 1 group that he's confident in. Number 2, he says outside linebacker. And then at number 3, he went tight end. I like this right here because I was wondering how people were feeling about that tight end group. Pat definitely flashed at times last year. And
I think he's going to be big time for us this year. I really do.
I do as well, but my question, I guess the only reason I hesitate on big time is what does that look like? Because you threw out Kelsey. There's not a lot of Kelseys out there, so I don't put, Kelsey and him in the conversation together. But I also think of who's going to be getting him the ball. And that's the other part of me where I'm just like, even though I think Pat is going to continue to grow and be a good player in this league, his position is dependent upon the quarterback way more so than Najee Harris. Najee, you're handing the ball off to him. He's going to do whatever he needs to do. But Pat is going to be relying upon the accuracy of these quarterbacks, the going through their reads of these quarterbacks. Like, it's just a lot more that is going to, that he's not in control of in a sense. And that's why, for me, I wasn't as high on the tight end group. But, yeah, if these quarterbacks are giving us 30 and 10 like how you said, baby, then yeah, the tight end group is definitely going to have to be major contributors in that vein. So I get it. I like it.
Well, that's one of the things I'm thinking with him. It's funny because whenever you look back on last year, how many times did we say we got to get Freiermuth the ball more?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We need to keep feeding him.
Yeah.
And then low key, when you look at his stats at the end of the season, had 500 yards, 60 receptions, and 7 touchdowns, and he missed a game. So, I almost view that as his floor. We didn't get him the ball enough last year, and now he's going into his second season. So, why can't we – it doesn't have to be Kelsey, numbers in his second season. But even Kelsey in his, second, third, or fourth year wasn't the Kelsey that we know right now, just in terms of overall production. Right. I know –
but that was also
talking with you were like,
though.
This Kelsey dude's going to be a problem.
But think about that was also the quarterback related as well, right? Because he had Alex Smith. And we saw the difference between Alex Smith and when Pat Mahomes came in the building. Can't we not, or do we not look at this the exact same way if we had Ben Roethlisberger last year, but now you're going to Mitch Trubisky, Mason, or whoever? I just anticipate a drop-off. That's all. I anticipate the quarterback play. You don't see drop-off between Ben last year and these quarterbacks this year? Or you think they all the same? If you think they're all the same, that's
quarterback
different.
Position?
Yeah, just quarterback position exclusively, because that has been a big reason why Kelsey's productivity changed. When he had Alex Smith played a different style of ball than Patrick Mahomes.
So
you know how I feel. Ben versus these quarterbacks. That's all.
So I do think there is a drop off between the quarterbacks. I do think what's going to help Freiermuth is obviously also all the moves that we made on the offensive line this year, and Canada so-called getting his quarterback. Now we're going to be all in on running whatever offense he has. So I don't think it's that far of a stretch. So 500 receiving, I don't see how that couldn't go up to 700-800 as Pat becomes maybe more of a feature in the offense. And then that 7 touchdowns becomes 8, 9, maybe 10.
Okay.
If you think it's all dependent on the quarterback, I could
Yeah.
see why you're saying maybe those numbers just stay the same, actually.
Yeah.
But if Pat gets better, the scheme is more fitting towards the quarterback. Our offensive line's better, and Pat becomes just more of a feature. That's why I could see those numbers going up.
Nah, fair enough. Because I also think of, okay, the Minnesota Vikings. You don't think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, and that's fine. But you think about the talent that he has. Has that talent around him made him morph into a new quarterback? No, it hasn't. He's still the same quarterback. He's still limited where he's limited. He's still streaky when he's streaky. But when you're telling me he has Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, those are two elite receivers right there in their own right. He has a Dalvin Cook, but yet Kirk is still kind of the reason why they never consistently stay over that hump. I just look at our offense and I'm seeing similar things. I'm like, yeah, I love what Pat can do. Yeah, I love what these receivers can do. I love what Najee can do. But our quarterback has to be the one making that happen. And we can point to other examples of quarterbacks that have been limited with talent around them and how that does not equate to those guys just magically improving. And I just don't share that same optimism about our quarterback position group right now, which is why, I'm a little hesitant when I'm thinking about our skill position guys. It's more in particular the receivers and tight ends taking these big jumps when I know what this quarterback position group could potentially look like and how that could hurt them and their productivity going forward. It's kind of like when Landry Jones would come out there. AB was still the best receiver in the league, but AB looked a lot different when Landry Jones is at quarterback in contrast to Ben Roethlisberger being at quarterback.
I think it's just depend on how much Freiermuth will be featured. Okay. I don't know what the schemes are going to be looking like.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like we're that eager to get that wide receiver 3, so maybe we will be running some like more 2 wide receiver sets and more bigger personnel out there.
Yeah.
Because with the Vikings and Cousins, like Thielen and Jefferson still put up numbers.
They did.
You know what I mean? Because they're featured that much. So if Freiermuth's featured, I could see him putting up numbers. That's good for fantasy, and that's good for us saying like Freiermuth's taking that next step. But ultimately, is it good for winning? Because it does come down to the quarterback in terms of winning games. Yeah. I guess I'm just talking about Freiermuth making a jump, like just overall production-wise.
Okay, no, fair enough. Now, I like that then. All right, we got Nate Drews. I believe it's the Bahamas homie, man. Shout out to you, man. It's been a minute. But at number 1, he has Coach Tomlin as the area that he's most confident. I like the angle there. Number 2, he says the defense. And then at number 3, he goes Najee. Spelled Najee a little different for me, but I like it though, man. All right. I like it. Coach Tomlin is number 1. Are we confident in him?
I am confident in him. I didn't know he was part of this exercise. But I am confident in him.
We didn't say you couldn't put him up there. I didn't put him up there, but that's dope. I like that. Matt Nerdy also says coaching staff is number 1. He says the running backs, plural, as number 2. And then he says special teams is the 3rd unit that he's most confident in. Coaching staff, I mean, we talked about the coach staff, man. We do like that staff a lot right now, man. You bring in Brian Flores. That's a huge upgrade defensively, man. That's going to help you out a ton. I mean, we like the staff. We definitely think the staff is
Canada's
good.
The question. That's really it.
I mean, how fitting. The same way we said on offense, the question mark is at quarterback. Well, hey, not just quarterback. The biggest question is the guy who's going to be directing the quarterback in this offense. Lord, this is perfect. It's a recipe for success, man. I'm loving it. But running back. I like Najee. Whoever else we bring in, I guess by default they will make the group just feel a little bit more confident because it'll be somebody new, hopefully. And then is your most, what position group are you most comfortable with, or what area of the Steelers are you most comfortable with?
I think it's got to be outside linebackers, right?
Okay. You tell me, man.
TJ Watt,
dudes.
The decoy. I mean, you could throw anyone else on the other side. I'm confident in him. I mean, he's getting enough sacks for 2 people out there. So you combine him with Highsmith, who I thought had a really nice jump from his rookie season to last season. Okay. Sack numbers, 6 sacks. You would be hoping there was a little bit more, but I do think his impact was bigger outside of those numbers because he had a lot of tackles for loss. He had some impact plays, and he had some pressures where you're like, oh, man, he was right there. He affected the play, but just didn't get the sack.
Right.
So, I'm just confident about those. Like, TJ Watt, he's the decoy. I expect that play to continue. And Highsmith, I don't see him getting worse anytime soon. So when you look back on last season, they were one of our most dominant position groups. So I just don't see anything changing. I just have confidence in both those guys.
Do you have any concern with that third rusher, though? Because we did see at times where there was a significant drop off when one of those guys came off the field, whether they were tired, whether they were injured.
If you're talking about depth, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like the conversation we were talking about with oh my God, I forgot the other position we were just talking about, where it was like the depth. More importantly, we just didn't feel like it was a lot there. And we know at the outside linebacker position, the third guy did play
we're talking about running
good
back.
amount of snaps last time. Yeah. I mean, because you think about it, we went through Derek Tuska last year. We had Ingram at the earlier portions of the season. Then we started to see how, like, man, we were Taco Charlton. It was weird in terms of that third rusher, and we really didn't have that guy. Does that play into this at all for you?
We got Avery. Dude has started in the league. More of a journeyman, but I think he could be a solid third edge rusher for us. And then also when you combine Simon too, I'd like to see what those guys could do with a full off season here.
Okay.
At least it feels like, unless these guys go off the board and say, like, I want to get traded mid-season, it feels like we're going to have more stability at that depth spot for this upcoming season compared to last year without Ingram bounce. Because, I mean, if Ingram stayed, holy hell.
Yeah, it would have been way different.
It's definitely different. But, no, I think those guys will be fine.
Okay.
We got enough in terms of the top-tier talent with Highsmith and TJ Watt, plus two dudes that have played in the league for a decent amount. I mean, Avery, this will be his fifth or sixth year?
Yeah, fifth year. Yeah.
Started some games. Simon, he's been in the league for a while. We have some confidence in him, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. No love for Derek. You ain't throw Tuska in there, man. That's crazy.
No, we're
Tuska,
good.
remember, Tuska gave us some productivity last year, man. Chill out, baby. Hey.
What is that? He had that one big sack. It was in the Browns game, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Ben's final home game.
He gave us some productivity, man. Come on now.
No, I got outside linebackers at 1.
Well, no surprise, I got outside linebackers at 1 as well. You thought I was going to not talk about my OLBs? You thought I was not going to talk about the depot? I didn't know who you were going to have,
because you were pushing back a little bit there. I was like, wait, does he have receiver at number 1 now?
Come on, man. I just like to give you
inside
a hard
linebackers
time.
at 1?
I like to give you a hard time every once in a while. But
no,
man, we got the
I
reigning
appreciate
depoy,
it. It's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, we got the reigning depoy because when you talk about TJ, he is the ultimate force multiplier. He makes our pass defense a lot better, not just because of the sacks, but because of the pressure he creates. That helps out our secondary. That makes us a lot more confident in the group that we have even right now. Without having a bona fide number 1 corner, we don't feel as threatened by that because we know TJ, what he brings to the table. I'm a big Alex Highsmith fan. You look at the productivity that he's had, the steady growth and development, and more importantly, when Melvin Ingram left, the spike in productivity that we saw from Alex Highsmith, he took his game to another level. I anticipate him continuing that. With Alex, man, I think that he's extremely hungry, and he's going to be coming up. He's getting closer to contract time for him now as well. So he's going to be another guy that's going to be trying to be extremely productive this season because he's going to want to get paid going into next offseason. So for me, man, when you pair those two guys together, I think that they are the straw that stirs this Steelers defense. I think that they are the biggest reasons why our defense is viewed the way that it's viewed, not just in the pass rush element, but in the run support as well. We know TJ, man, he forces fumbles. He's the punch king. He might punch you, but he's going to punch the ball as well. You know, that's what he does. And Alex Highsmith has shown that, man, he can be very productive in terms of setting the edge. Both of those guys, I think, raise that level, raise this defense up to a scary, scenario when those two guys are clicking and playing at the potential that they're capable of playing at. And honestly, man, I still feel confident in the guys behind it. You talk about John Simon. I think that, him having a full offseason here, he's going to help you in that run support. Absolutely. I think Derek Tuska, I kind of like him as well in a sense, even though he played at North Dakota State and I don't like them. He did give us some quality snaps at times last year. And that's just the reality of it. And with Jannard Avery, I'm hoping that it can get back to rookie year Jannard. Because rookie year Jannard, he looked good. He flashed. He played extremely fast level. I thought that, he had a natural rushing ability. And that was ultimately why you look at his stats that first year, why he was so productive. Now, since then, it kind of, like I said, got convoluted, right? That second year, new DC, different style of defense. He doesn't get those opportunities. He goes to Philly. He's playing in a different position. But now that you're talking about putting him back at that outside linebacker spot where he's more comfortable and I think just more natural for him, I think that that's going to help him out a lot as well and really help out this group. So to me, man, I think that, it was, I thought wide receiver, but I said, man, wide receiver doesn't have that bona fide one guy. Even when we're talking about the safety position, I like TJ Watt over Minka, and I like Alex Highsmith over the, Carl Joseph or Trey Norwood that we have right now at safety. So for me, it was just like, man, how do I not say O-line? How do I not say outside linebacker? O-line, I thought about them as well, man, because they are upgraded. But I still have a little bit of concerns of how we're going to put these pieces to the puzzle out there in terms of where does Kendrick Green fall into this equation? What do we do with Dotson? Where does he fall in this equation? How confident am I in Chooks? Just because he's getting paid now at a certain level, does that make me feel that his play is equal to that pay? Because that was a little bit of a discussion that we had when he got the contract that he received. We were like, man, we thought he played well last year, but not to that level. So that's the part for me where I'm just a little bit concerned. But outside linebacker, man, I don't have a lot of faults there. I think that, man, the high-end talent is elitely high-end. And you're talking about TJ having a full offseason as well because he did not have that last year. With the contract situation, he wasn't practicing. Remember that. We talked about that. I do think that that's only going to make him be a lot more better as well.
Yeah, you're definitely right. In terms of the confidence level of all the groups, you could bring up some negatives. But I think for outside linebackers, what is it? When we're talking about the depth, sure, but it's going to be better than what it was last year. And TJ Watt won a deep point. Alex Highsmith played really well. And I don't see those two things changing. And I think we improved our depth. So that's why they're kind of locked in at number one for me.
Yeah. No, I definitely like
Whereas
that.
with line, like offensive line, I'm confident in them being better than last year. But at the same time, we got some young guys. Like, how much of a jump will Dan Moore make? I expect him to take a jump. Kevin Dotson, can he stay healthy? I think he's solid. Mason Cole, he's been really solid. I mean, but he has been. Also hasn't started all of his games up to this point throughout his career. He's been versatile in and out of the lineup at times, but he's also young. James Daniels is probably the guy I'm most confident in, actually.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's a stud for the Bears. And then you're right, with Chooks getting that contract. All right, we're kind of projecting here. We're hoping you're going to hit your prime with where we signed you over these next couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, there's reason to be confident in the line being better, but I don't know versus all the other position groups that we named, like in the top three. I just don't know if I'd put them there. It goes back to receiver and tight end, too, as to why they're not there as well.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
Kind of like the same conversation.
Yep. So.
All right, we want to hit these supers?
Yeah, let's get these supers.
One more topic, right?
Yep. Let's do it.
I'm at R. Barley. I don't know if that's right.
R. Barley. Yes. No, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
All right. He says, I love Tariq Woolen out of UTSA. It reminds me of Ike Taylor. Watch any of him? If so, thoughts? I like the H/W/S corners tackling is a big plus with him as well.
Yeah. No, the size is definitely there. I mean, that's the reason we get the Ike Taylor comparisons. Yeah, I saw a little bit of him. Actually, I forgot who else we were looking at from UTSA. I think it was the old lineman we were checking out as well. I forgot his name all of a sudden. But, yeah, I did see Tariq, man. He definitely – you can see some of the flashes and some of the reasons of comparisons. My biggest question when we're talking about players like Tariq, man, is just when you're matching them up with higher-end talent, what is that going to look like? You know, I definitely think he could do some good things, though, as a whole. I mean, the size is there, though. And that's the big part, man. We're going to talk about corners in a second. Anywho, you want a little bit more length. You want taller guys. You don't want a lot of 5'8s and 5'7s out there on that perimeter, man. Yeah, I'm looking for them 6s and higher, in a sense, man. So that is part of the reason when you talk about Tyreek that, you can get that, at least get that feeling right there, man. Yep.
Tyree McClendon. This is a spicy one. Better pick for us, Derek Stingley or Chris Olave?
Both
of them are available. Pick 20. Who are you taking?
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's tough. Oh, that is tough. Sheesh. Huh. Oh, I don't know. Stingley is fire. God. Oh, man. Dude, I think I go Stingley. I think I do. I love Olave, though. Oh, my. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Who you think I'm picking?
Well, you're an offensive guy. You're gonna go Olave. I know this.
I'm gonna go Olave, but I also
I know you go. You know what?
If I went Stingley, that just means I don't believe in Witherspoon. You know what I mean? I believe in Witherspoon being that guy.
Mike Matizik has brought this back to me. I totally forgot to be doing this. He says we should poll it up. You're right. I'm gonna pull this up because I don't put this pressure on me. Let's see what the people think, man.
I'm going Olave because I do think with how our corners sit right now, as much as we can talk about confidence levels, which we just did last segment, and you could say, oh, yeah, Kello's still a little unproven. We got to see what he does. Levi Wallace, he's a solid cornerback number 2. How does Cam Sutton look in the slot full time? There could be some question marks. I do think our corners are going to be solid. So I believe in them like that. We're missing a wide receiver 3. Olave falls to 20. I think that's a really big upgrade for us.
Well, I just put the poll in. Dude, that sounds terrible.
I just voted Olave.
Yeah. Thank you for voting Olave. The poll for the category is up. Yes. That sounded like how that sound when I just said that out loud, man. Yeah. You're right, Stan Claire. Where's Trina? Trina Still Diva's the one always saying to poll it up, man. Where you at, Trina? Come on now. Sheesh. But yeah, I felt like I was inappropriate when I said that.
No, anyone that thought it was, they got the dirty minds, dude.
Yeah, exactly, man. Jeez.
Okay, we want to let that sit and roll through the rest of these?
Yeah, just let the poll sit in there for a little bit, man. We take your time. God, dog. All right, man. Y'all know what I mean, okay? Y'all know. Can we be adults this morning? Because I'm not an adult this morning, okay? I'm very much immature. I told Deke last time, man, like some of the stuff he be saying at his mouth, man, I'm not that mature, okay? I'm still working on my maturity level, all right? I chuckle at these type of things. I think of me like a 13-year-old kid, all right? I'm not ready for this. I'm not mature enough for that, all right? But yes, y'all let me know how you feeling about this poll.
Official momentum. Oh, here's a suggestion for us. Y'all need to do the halftime show for the games.
The halftime show for the games?
What, would you tune into us over CBS?
Oh, man. Dude, sometimes I think of how we are by the time halftime gets there. I don't think I'm ready for that, you know? Unless if I'm not at the game, I think that's different. Me at the game, yeah. Us at the game, yeah. You don't need that energy, man. You know, we got one person hammering on White Claws and one person just floating off in the galaxy. All right, that's typically how we are at these games. I'm not halftime show material at these games.
I think that's why they want the halftime show. Be honest with you.
See, and I don't even want that pressure of me having to focus that much and give you that type of analysis. That's too much work. I don't want to work on the weekends. All right, I like to just get full on, just lost in space. All right, me having to be able to function to hit the button that says live. You know what I mean? That's too much thinking. I don't want to do that either. Okay. But that would be pretty funny though.
Morning, fellas. Not going to be able to comment much today. It's all good, dude. You got to take care of business. He says it's harvest season.
All good.
But Jack can run defense while Bush defends the sideline to sideline like he's better at and guard receivers. It'll work out.
I mean, I get that sentiment, but my biggest concern is that we've been saying that about Devin for a couple of years, and for various reasons, whatever excuse we want to put on it, at the end of the day, the results have not been there and that haven't been consistent enough when we're talking about him exclusively in coverage versus some of these, more athletic tight ends, running backs, or even some of the slot receivers that he matches up with. I think until we see him do it consistently, there are always going to be some concerns there. And I do think that ultimately will hinder, what Miles Jack is capable of doing in a sense as well, if you're having to play one of those guys a little bit out of position. But if Bush can take that step, if Bush can finally put it all together, now I do agree with you. I think that everything works out perfectly because both of those guys have elite athletic ability. Both of those guys have the capabilities of being playmakers. We've just seen it more from Miles Jack, whereas with Devin, it's been more speculation. But if he puts it together, man, now we're talking about something special going on the inside.
I'm at Let's Go You Dub.
Yeah.
Am I right here? The chat jumped on me. That was after Derek Nelson.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Some of these Steeler blogs need to chill out on these potential DJ contracts. At best, he's worth 15 mil. Tops. People out here saying he's better
20.
than Hill and Adams.
Yeah.
Shaking my damn head.
Yeah.
Who's saying this?
I don't know. But you know Steelers fans. I mean, you've been telling us that Ben's better than Brady. So, I mean.
What's wrong with that?
Exactly, right? So if you can say, and what's wrong with that, I'm sure it's a person out there that loves DJ and says, you know what, Deontay is better than Adams and Tyreek. And they're going to have some reason, the same way you have your reason in terms of why you think Ben is better than Brady. I get it, man. I get it.
So they're talking about Deontay getting more than 15?
I'm assuming that's what he's saying. If he's on the open market, I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched. But if you're talking about here in Pittsburgh, will the Steelers be willing to pay that? I think that's a different conversation.
You know what I think he's referring to?
What's up?
Is that new Stephon Diggs contract.
Oh, yeah, he did just get, was it 4 for 108? With
104.
Yeah, what was it, 70 guaranteed?
I don't have the guarantees, but just think that's, what, 25 a year, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Adams, 140 over 5 years. What's that math? That's almost 30. Tyreek Hill, 4 for 120. That's 30. Christian Kirk with the whole 4 years, 72 million. That puts the wrinkle in things too, actually.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. It definitely does.
So right here, SpotTrack released their market valuations for wide receivers still under contract. Estimated that Johnson is worth $88 million over 4 years. Oh.
88.
So yeah, that's over 20.
Yeah.
That's what, 22?
22, yeah.
Oh man, come on,
bro. I'm cool on that. I'm not.
That's what I'm talking. 15
cool
might be a value.
That,
I might have been wrong whenever I was initially talking about it with some of these wide receiver commentary. Maybe 15 is a value. He's just got to catch the ball. If he could keep the same production and catch the ball and be reliable, then 15 isn't outrageous.
I get it.
But Christian Kirk, 4 for 72.
But we've talked about this, right? We said just because other teams make stupid decisions with contracts, that don't mean we got to do that. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to do that. Why? Why we got to do that? Because we saw them and them and them. What did Coach Thomas say? He says we don't keep up with the Joneses. We got our own way that we like to operate. I'm hoping that he keeps that same energy with this contract. We got our own way of operating. We don't have to keep with the Joneses. So, Christian Kirk, I'm happy for you, but you keep that over there. You know what I mean? With some of these other deals, like, y'all keep that over there, man. We don't need to do that. Nah, I'm cool on that, man.
We don't have to pay him this year either.
Right. That's the other thing. We're in the
control. We're in the driver's seat, man.
Yeah, we're in the driver's seat with this.
How would you feel if we made the deal for 15, though, this offseason?
Like I said, I still don't like it. Not at all. I think you're doing it because you're looking at the other numbers around you and saying, oh, well, you know what? Those guys are getting 20 plus. All right, 15 isn't that bad. No, I don't want to talk myself into that. Like, I that still doesn't make sense to me. I think that, you know, I kind of like the approach of letting them play it. Let go out there and play this year, man. And if he balls out and he raises level to where you're talking about him being, you know, in the conversation with those guys, then sure, you franchise tag him until you can get a long-term deal done. But to just lock him into a deal that's going to pay him at worst case 15 this year, but let's be real about it. If it starts at 15 this year, next year it's going to go up, and then it's going to go up. That's my only thing. Where does it go from 15? Does it go to 17, 18? Does it go to 20?
Well, as long as you could get the average at 15.
All right, that's my only concern, man. I'm just like, I don't like that a lot, man. I don't feel like, you know, his play has been consistent enough to that level, you know, just yet, man. Whereas right now, you still have tag options. If you don't franchise tag him, but you think that, you know, he still has done some, well, nah, because you transition tag him, I do think that a team would pay him more on the open market. But we talk about it all the time, man. Teams overpaying free agency, and the guys they're getting, it's like, man, that guy wasn't worth that much money. I just kind of look at Deontay in the same vein right now. I think Deontay will continue to grow and get better, but I just think that Deontay is still, we're speculating him taking that next step. Whereas when we're talking about some of these other guys, especially Diggs, especially Tyreek, especially Devontae Adams, those three guys are solidified. They are bona fide wide receiver ones. No debate about it. Right now, we can't say that definitively about Deontay Johnson.
You could literally just do what the Packers did with Devontae Adams with Deontay. Then you brought up franchise tagging him.
Yeah.
But then after you franchise tag him, then you could trade him for a team that's willing to give him that long-term contract. Because if negotiations aren't going good with us, you don't want a disgruntled guy on the roster. Tomlin always says that we want volunteers, not hostages.
Right.
But at that point, if you're willing to give Deontay a franchise tag, that means he probably played pretty damn well last year.
Right.
You
and we
probably
think that he
then
can
get
do
a first rounder
that.
for him, at least.
I just rather hedge that bet on I want to see him do it again and take that next step. And if he does, franchise tagging him is not the end of the world. And if you can get a long-term deal done with him, it's not the end of the world. I just don't want to pay him that caliber money on the front end of this thing when we're looking at him and saying, well, we still got question marks around him. And now 2 years into this deal, we're looking at it like, why did we do that? That's the thing that I'm trying to avoid.
So you don't care if he plays well and then it ends up being like 23 next year?
No, because if
the case for 15
you have a
is
bona fide wide receiver one. It's nothing wrong with that. Like, now he's bona fide. And you talked about it yourself, whether you're tagging him, whether you're trying to trade him like the Packers did with Devontae. That's still not a negative. You still would get assets for him. You still can make the most of that situation. And it still would help us next season if he's balling out like that. All I'm saying is I want to see him do it again, because prior to this season, we have not seen him do it to that level. Prior to this season, we've seen him deal with the drop issues at a larger clip, and we've seen him mentally not be the person that we need him to be and essentially have to be taken off the field. That's my only thing. I don't want to just do it off of one season. And that's essentially what we'll be doing right now, is based off of what he did last year versus his overarching body of work. That's all. Yeah,
the case for it is just you give him that 15 and you're just thinking he's going to outplay it for these next however many years, and you're getting great value as an organization.
Yeah, but
I don't know where I sit with this.
Though. But think about this. If he outplays it, that becomes this whole other element of issues, right? Because now he's going to be saying, what? I want more money. That's a whole another can of worms you got to deal with as well.
Yeah, that wouldn't be after the first year, though, right? That would probably be after the second year.
I mean, it just depends on how he would view it. If you get him a deal, he gets 15, but he goes out there and balls out and gets another Pro Bowl, and now he's like, no, I want 20. I want 22, because when you talk about a Christian Kirk getting that caliber money, he's going to be saying, well, man, this dude is not far from where I'm at. I want that type of money. Now you do potentially have that issue. Not saying that it will happen, but that is something that you might have to deal with.
It might be. Yeah, that's why I don't know where I sit with this. There's a lot of variables with it going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm good with letting us just ride it out, but at the same time, how disgruntled does Deontay become?
Right.
I'm good with paying him, but then if the drops resurface, then you're like, oh, wow, we just overpaid for him.
Yeah.
I don't know where I sit with it. I would just like to see another year of Deontay. We'll just put it that way. I think we all can agree with that. Let's see what he can do this year.
Wait and see, and if he balls out, I tag him and we go from there. That's just kind of like my energy with him.
I'd rather see a year of Deontay this season than trade him. I'll put it to you that way.
No, absolutely.
Than trading him this season. Yeah. Let the chips fall, and then if we're talking about franchise tags, long-term extensions next year, whatever it is, then we'll get to it at that point. Yeah. All right, I got some more supers.
Well, hold on. Let me get back on my poll real quick, or get back to my poll that we put into the chat to see what the people are saying. Man, this was a lot tighter than I thought. It's 54-46. But they going Stingley. They're leaning corner. Shout out to the defensive lovers in the building, baby. Shout out to the defensive lovers in the building. I like it, though, man. Okay,
so are you going with the poll? Did they convince you enough?
I mean, I put the poll in, so, I ain't tripping. If that's how they wanted to ride the poll and make it lean more on the defensive side than the offensive side, man, hey, it's all good. Shout out to the poll, man. Shout out to everybody that participated in the poll. 150 some people, man, on that poll, baby. I like that right there, man. That felt good.
Was winning early on. Stingley made a comeback, though.
It was a 50-50 split. Then I don't know what happened, man, but, they started to do enough to make it perk up a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball, man. I like it. Yeah.
I guess so. G. Alexander.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Shout out to the poll. Should I take the poll? Hold on. Should I take the poll out or leave the poll in still? What you want to do, Deke? You want me to leave the poll in?
I think you can take it out. I think it's good. All
right,
I think it's over.
The poll has been removed.
I think we got all the information we needed.
There we go. No more poll in the chat. All right, the poll has been removed. Y'all are good now. Told you I'm not mature. I am not mature this morning, man. Y'all better take it out, man. I'm not mature this morning. Let's get it.
How about this? G. Alexander is just coasting in life. Moats, Wagwan, been on Mars since the end of the season.
End of the season, God.
What do you think about signing Julio or Fitz to a vet deal? Dude, don't be bringing up Larry Fitzgerald. Come on. We can't be doing that. To teach Chase how to play big. Fitzgerald as a wide receiver coach, sure, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm cool on Larry. Julio, sure. If the price is right, sure. But I'm cool on Fitz, though, man. But, gee, I'm a little jealous you've been on Mars since the end of the season. I ain't gonna lie. I might have been on Mars, too, since then. Well, I had to take a break, obviously, when I was on my Namaste hiatus. But, since I've been back, it has been fun. But, yeah, Julio, I don't think, man, Julio's not taking no cheap deal like that either. Like, yeah, I'd much rather draft the guy. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. All right. But no, shout out to my dog, though. Shout out to Wagwan, Moats. Yeah, I know what it is, man. What up, G? All right. So we got Derek Nelson. Yep. And then we get to this last topic. It's about 11:15, so we still got some time left.
Yeah, it's good timing.
Absolutely.
Think of Bush's rookie season. He was flying around the flat.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking coming back healthy, not having to worry about interior run as much with Jack.
Ooh, okay. No, that makes sense. And if you're talking about it from that vein, yeah, sure. But it's really going to be dependent on if we think Bush is healthy again, right? Because I thought he was healthy last season, but clearly if that's the reason why we feel like he did not play to that extent, I can understand the optimism surrounding that, right? Him having another year removed from the ACL, that should be able to help him even more so. So if that is the mindset, I definitely can see that then.
Yeah. So we're done with the chats then. Yeah.
Chats, so we'll get to this last topic, man, and then we'll be out of here. Like I said, man, I got the 11:30. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to get going. But since we were talking about our positions of need, and obviously I said corner, you said safety. I think corner was in that conversation from the chat as well. Just looking at the free agent market right now for corners that are available. I'm going to read off some names to you. I got it's just a good amount of names that I have right here, but I want to get your thoughts on it. It's a ton of cornerback options, and we have the resources money-wise to go, a couple of ways with this thing. But some of the names that are available on the cornerback market. Start with Stephon Gilmore. You got Xavier Rhodes. You got Chris Harris. He's available. We know 2 former Pittsburgh Steelers, Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson, are available on the open market. Trey Waynes is a guy that we've talked about. Vernon Hargraves III is available. Jack Rabbit Jenkins, and that is officially the name that they're using on NFL.com. Just throwing that out there. But Jack Rabbit Jenkins, he's available. Kyle Fuller is another guy that's available. Yeah. Kevin King, available. AJ Bouye, and then Josh Norman. Any of those names make you feel some type of way? Any of those names make you think, I could see us spend a little bit to get one of these guys? What's your thought process on them, man? Or if there's somebody that maybe you have that, I didn't put up, Also in this conversation, man, let me know. Yeah, and in the chat with the names we just read off, what I was going to say, and in the chat, let me know too with the names that we just read off, man. Are any of these cornerback guys that, you could potentially see the Steelers targeted, or you would still want the Steelers to target right now, whether we're talking prior to the draft or post-draft?
It's weird. Before signing your boy from up in Buffalo, Levi Wallace, I'd have been all for a number of these dudes. I mean, particularly Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
But right now, we got Witherspoon. We got Levi Wallace. We got Cam Sutton. I'm kind of set on this cornerback room right now, outside of maybe drafting one in second or third round, something like that, just to build some depth around. Just because whenever you look at all these dudes, what age are they around? 29, 30, 31, 32. And whatever deal they sign, I'm assuming they're going to be trying to get the starting role. That's why we talked about even Joe Hayden after we signed Levi Wallace, after we signed Witherspoon. We're just like, I don't know if we really see a fit for him coming back. Now, there might be some more higher-end guys like Stephon Gilmore or even Steven Nelson out there. But I have a similar sentiment. Like, I'd be fine signing them, but I do think their cap hits are going to be a little bit too much for what we want to spend. And the next question is then, what's their role?
Well, I guess my rebuttal to you is this, though.
Go ahead.
You're completely fine if we spend on Tyrann Mathieu, right?
Yeah.
I just look at it like, what would be the biggest difference if you're taking that money for a Tyron, you spend it on a Stephon Gilmore? You're still going to have a proven cornerback one, a guy that we currently do not have on this roster right now. We have good talent at corner. We have the optimism surrounding Kello Witherspoon, but right now we don't have a legitimate cornerback one. So that's kind of like why I look at it like this, and I say, man, I don't necessarily balk at paying a Stephon Gilmore with this group and then still going and just saying, you know, we'll just draft the guy at the play safety position. Like, I think that that's still the alternative. That's another option to you. Or if you went a little bit low end, Xavier Rhodes, I think he's still going to cost. But I think he will be a cheaper option, though, than both Gilmore or even we talk about the Tyrann Mathieu element of it, who still gives you a lot higher in talent, a lot higher in productivity as well, in contrast to Levi, in contrast to Akello and Cam Sutton. Because with all three of those guys, I mean, right now, if we're being real about it, Levi is probably the most proven of the group. Whereas with Akello, we said the sample size of him being productive to this level was small, which is why the money reflected that. And with Cam Sutton, we still feel like he's a better slot corner than he is an outside corner. So that's why for me, I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, does it make sense to bring in a more proven guy? Whereas when you're talking about drafting a corner, we know, number one, the history of the Steelers drafting corners of lately has not been what we would like it to be. So there's obviously a little bit of skepticism with that. But also just knowing that, man, if Akello isn't who we're hoping he can be, we could be in a little bit of an issue here. And that's why I'm saying to myself, like, granted, I don't want Joe Hayden to come back in that same vein, because I do think that Akello has caught up to where Joe is. I don't think Akello has passed him, but I think that they're similar in terms of what they could give us going into this season. Plus, Joe's a lot older. But Gilmore, I think, is still in a class that is the top guy of all these corners right now. Mm-hmm. But it's 2 for 8 breaking the bank. No, it's not, especially for the corners. That's a $4 million per year average, right? It's the same deal we gave Levi Wallace. It's good money, but that deal is not too far from what we did to Cam Sutton, if you're thinking about it. So none of that screams, hey, man, we don't bring a guy in above them. We don't draft a guy at that position. You know, that's just kind of why I look at it like that. And I say, well, hey, man, maybe we do need to spend a little bit more in that room to solidify it. I mean, because if we're talking about potentially drafting a guy, whether that's at 20 or in that second round, that can really bolster that group, what's the difference in paying one of these guys who are a little bit more proven? But granted, you would have him on a shorter term now, maybe, 2 years, 3 years max. Maybe that's the different element of it. But that is something that I was just thinking about. Like, do you go that route or not? Oh, hold on. Yeah, I did see it. Get your power on, man. I don't see you. Where'd you go, man? Oh, Deke, man. Come on, baby. Get back in this thing, Deke. Get, yeah, we are not seeing you. We definitely lost you, man. No. You are not up here at all. I see me and I see the background of what you would look like. Well, not what you would look like, just on my end. So, yeah, man, we gotta get you back in the ball game, baby. All right? Yeah, Deke really disappeared on us, man. You didn't even tell him. All right, let's see. Get back to Zoom. Can you open back up Zoom? Whoa. Oh, you got shut out. Okay, all right. Well, I guess what we will do then, sheesh. This is funny. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, yeah, because they can't even hear you right now. That is funny. I was wondering why the chat was saying, yo, we lost Deke. I wasn't even looking. Oh, okay. All right, so the power, so update for the people that are wondering where Deke has went. The power has went out in his location. Okay, so that's why y'all can't hear him. I can hear him because we got the earpieces in. But Deke is still alive. He is good. He's just dealing with some technical difficulties down there in Florida. So what I will do is, because we got like a couple minutes left, Deke, if you have time, or if your Wi-Fi does, yo, this is. Oh man, yo, that is fun. Yo, you're good. That you're funny. You're not funny, but this is pretty funny right here. This said, put him on speakerphone. Hey, this is the beauty of it, though, guys. So they said throw the mobile hotspot on, Deke. Get on from your phone. All right. Well, no. So what you would do? Right. It definitely would. So what we'll do is this, though, Deke, because we do know right now it is about 5 minutes left, and if you're having to process through that part of it, might be a little difficult getting everything back set up. So we are okay. It is all good. This is too funny though. So what we'll do is this though, man. Yeah, so I don't even remember where we stopped at in terms of the cornerback conversation, but let me see how I can make this look real quick for the group. Oh man, that's gonna get real gory if I change the outlook on the fly like this right now. Let's see. Let me try something real quick. They said put you on speakerphone. I'm gonna see if it actually works because we got a little time. We can get a little goofy right here. All right. So I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. All right, Deke, talk out loud one time.
Can you hear me?
Keep talking to see. We're gonna see if the chat can hear you right now while I have you on speakerphone.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
They say they can hear you. They say they can hear you, man. All right, so they say barely. This is so funny. But anywho, you know me, baby. We never tripping. This is what I learned when I was away. You got to control what you can control, and we just laugh through it and make it work. So, since they can't hear you, we will finish the episode. We got a couple minutes left, anywho, with this, man. But
sure.
In terms of the free agent wide receivers that we were talking about, what are you leaning though, man? Do you still feel like you would much rather, go draft one of these guys, draft the corner, or are you liking some of these free agent options that we were talking about?
Like I said, I'm fine with it just because if you get a chance to bring in Stephon Gilmore, yeah, I'll be cool with it, or some of these other guys that have bigger names just to add to the cornerback room. But I would really like to give Ahkello Witherspoon a chance to be cornerback number 1. I know it may come with a little bit of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw from those last 5 or 6 games, I think he's capable, and we'd be getting huge value with him doing that. And Levi Wallace, he's an outside corner too, so it's just weird. If we bring another guy in, what are we doing with Levi or Ahkello? That's why I wonder about fit. Now, you can say Stephon Gilmore is more proven, 100%. I agree with that. It's just okay. Yeah. We move one of those guys into the slot. Do we bump Cam Sutton? The cornerback depth would be incredible. I just don't know what would happen with guys getting disgruntled or whatnot, or if Ahkello's thinking, man, I just signed this contract that you guys believed in me. I'm good with taking that chance with them, and then maybe even drafting a guy, second, third round. I wouldn't want to go first. Whenever we talk about the whole Stingley versus Olave conversation, I'd rather try to go receiver or different position in that first round, because I think we can roll with these cornerbacks, and then just maybe take a depth guy second or later, second, third, fourth, something like that.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I definitely could dig that, man. I could definitely dig that. Yo, I'm just laughing at these comments. They said we didn't turn Deke calling from jail right now, man. They said my man on the jail call. It is hilarious. Oh man. But no, this is cool, man. This is cool, man. But they said I accepted the charges. Y'all are crazy. Only we can laugh like this and just roll with it like that. That's the beauty of what we got here, baby. Straight like that. But I think for me at the end of the day, because we are about to wrap up anywho, I would say that I still do look at one of these, guys. Maybe not a Gilmore because he is a lot more high end, but I would like to bring in one of these guys if we can get them on a more team-friendly deal. I mean, even in that same reign of $2 to $4 mil per year type situation, I think that, you know, if you can get one of those guys to come in on a contract like that it could help out, you know, because it just brings in a little bit more validity, a little bit more of a proven commodity to this group and takes away a lot of that speculation. So that's kind of my mindset with it. But I'm going to read a couple of these supers, and after that, man, we're going to get up out of here, man, because this has been too funny. I like it. All right, so I think we stopped on Aaron King. Aaron King says, how do you feel about Jahan Dotson? I feel like he's a better Deontay Johnson. That's the cat from Penn State. I have seen us mock to taking him as well. I mean, it could definitely work, and that would also keep us from having to pay a Deontay Johnson. So that is something that we could consider and something that would make sense in a vein. But I don't want to go Jahan if we still need to address the strong safety position, or if we still need to address that second corner, or that the cornerback room as well, man. I just think that, you know, I think Jahan would be more of that luxury right now because he is going to be in that same vein as a Deontay in a sense, man.
Yeah. I like some of those other receivers that we talked about.
Me too.
And as of right now, especially if people are talking about them falling. I mean, I'm not opposed to taking a receiver. I mean, I'd rather just be like a burner type. Although Dotson did run pretty good.
No, he did. No, he definitely did.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's a good receiver, so I'm not completely opposed. If we like him, I'll trust us and Kevin Colbert and draft receivers and kind of assume that he's going to do pretty well.
My man said, bringing up Penn State receivers, they said Deke finally Penn State for real. Penn State Penitentiary. Yo, now they said you at your side girl closet. They said you at Ben's closet. They said you need to drop your freestyle Deke first day out. Yo, this is too funny to me right now, yo. Holy cow. We got a couple more supers that we gonna get out. They said, don't drop the soap, whatever you do. You're right. Hey, and if you need to, make sure you got your shank in your safe, okay? Remember, we talked about that the other episode. I read about my books now, man. You know I'm a big reader, okay? Keep your safe stacked, you know, keep it stacked up in there, okay? Whew. All right, official momentum, though. He came back one more time, and he says, Moats, either ball boy or I'll suit up in pads in terms of getting on with the stills. I like your determination. I like it a lot. I do. I got to see some tape on you, though, before I put you in the pads. That's all I'm saying, all right? And then the final one is from Solo One. He says, Moats, are you still doing the mock draft reviews? Yes, we are. I just thought to space it out a little bit because we had just did a review last episode. I didn't want to make y'all feel like, you know, we're giving you too many mock drafts. But if y'all are completely fine with us featuring a mock draft each episode that we're doing, we can definitely do that, and we'll get to a lot more of them. I just didn't want to, you know, have y'all feeling like, hey man, you know, we don't want to hear about mock drafts every time. But if y'all want that energy, y'all just let us know, and we can easily continue to put those in because we do have a ton of them in the wings that I'm always waiting to use and stuff like that. But yeah, if y'all are down for it, I don't have any issue, doing these a lot more.
For sure. I'm with you on that too.
Yeah. For sure. So, yeah, man. Yo, this is too funny. But anywho, man, so shout out to the phone case once again. Y'all see that out there for those that want to get phone cases like Moats and Deke. So that way, if your friend needs to call you from, jail, lockup, whatever, they can do that as well, all right? And look cool and in style. But But anywho, we definitely appreciate y'all, and we love, how we rock with y'all and how y'all rock with us, even when we do experience some unique circumstances from a technical standpoint. But anywho, that will be it for today's show, so we greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in with us, and until next time, baby, peace.